if I remember how to. I do. Look at that.
Yeah, man, I tried. It was surprisingly easy.
Yeah,
Literally just click a button and then it
yeah.
happened.
It's not hard.
It's like, I'm going to spend tonight learning. And I was like, all right, now that's really not that much to learn. Some audio mixing and such, but apparently that doesn't really matter if I'm the only audio,
Yeah.
you know.
It gets really difficult if you don't want to transmit everything you yourself are hearing, because then you have to redirect audio sources in weird ways, and
I
yeah,
mean, I just muted my own computer on it. It's not like I have anything on there
yeah,
anyway.
exactly. If you just want to stream, it's super easy. You can make it as difficult as you like, just
Oh.
like with video editing, I guess.
Hmm.
So
Well,
long as the audience can hear you, Manikai.
Yeah.
And
is that
I,
even a
I,
problem? Should I go back and look at my
I,
VOD and then see this completely silent?
well,
Oh boy.
you are quiet. Griff and I talked about that. I can't turn you up high like I can in
Hmm.
Discord.
No,
Oh.
Manikai, what you do is you start a stream on someone else's channel and stream a whole lot of copyrighted music. That's the way to do it.
Really? I don't think I have access to anyone else's chat. We're
Oh, I got a lot of angry emails from angry messages from both Jonas and Halldamir the day after.
why? Yeah. I understand that the pay-per-view wrestling shows is something you should stream like that. They love that. Love that stuff.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever felt the desire to do that
No.
or to watch them in the first place.
I feel like it's like an esports thing. You can get into it, and then it's probably fun. But when you don't know anything about it, it's like watching something else.
So has Ari sent you a text?
Oh,
Has your
I have
power
no
gone
idea
out?
what's happening there.
Oh, okay.
I figure I mean, yeah, I don't know. I figure she's probably restarting for some reason.
Okay. I just figured if there was anyone who could get information about her, it'd probably
Yeah,
be you.
if she sends me a text, I'll hear it. But
Hmm.
I remember once, what
Yeah.
was that? I have a faint memory of a long, long time ago when you would receive a text and it'd be like an audio interference.
Griffin God during our 13th Age campaign, if his cell phone was too close to his computer microphone, it caused interference.
Yeah, it was like yeah, that might be it.
There were certainly a few sessions where he would grab the phone when we complained about it, he would just like throw it like across his
Yeah,
room onto his bed.
yeah.
All a part of his cunning scheme to keep us on our toes.
I have to try really hard to suppress the urge to, in the context of interference, gush about how weird electricity really is.
I mean, it is weird, yeah.
It is so weird. Like, it's
Kind of. I mean, it's the movement of electrons.
just electrons wobbling in metal that we initially used for swords and then figured out, oh, it's magnetic. What does that mean? Let's make microphones.
Yeah. My next topic as a teacher teaching physics is electricity.
Huh.
It's gonna be my Sunday. Preparing for that.
Ari told us to get cracking. When her internet stabilizes, she'll slide in.
All right. I see it.
Cracking, you say?
Yeah.
see. Did I do the recap last time, or did I mean
No,
to do it
you
next time?
you respectfully declined to do the recap last time. You asked if someone else would do it, so Ari did.
Okay, and then I said about do next time. Then I remember because I did not make good notes, but I did prepare for the recap. Because last time, I believe we started with Emmy visiting the Dragonfane to propose a plan to Valignus. The plan consisted of trying to capture the spell-plagued avatar of Nabanian in the Gulfmere Forest, to get its divine spark, and to trade it to Hell for, well, hopefully our freedom. That would be nice. But just to get some breathing room, I think, was mostly the plan. But it's a valuable thing, who knows? It's probably more valuable than we are. And yeah, the only difficulty is that we have no idea how strong it is, no idea how to find it. It's been elusive, to say the least. There's probably other people who are also sort of looking at that, maybe with some interest, who knows. A lot of open questions, which certainly surprised me that Emmy would propose such a plan with a very real chance of failure. Which, on the other hand, is Valignus' favorite type of plan. High risk, high reward and such, and of course he'll help. Afterwards, the cicatrix in her vicinity around the Eel Fortress, I believe, noticed some odd wildlife, which included a particularly noteworthy species of large amber-colored bees, I believe was the description. Of course, the cicatrix, being the paranoid black dragon that she is, wanted to know what the hell that was about, which only opened up more questions about who's spying on her using bees and such. Then Valignus did a little visit to a peaceful hamlet, now unprotected and mostly left alone, the Temple of Orgma, which has a particular book that Valignus is very interested in, and he tried to be about as diplomatic as he is physically capable. First sending a messenger because nobody wanted to come out to talk to him, which, you know, is fair. And then eventually going himself to talk to the people to make a bit of a deal. He is more than willing to not only offer protection, as well as appropriate payment for a copy of the book, such that the Orgmites can keep their original if they so desire, or at least, you know, keep it for the time being, in return for protection. Well, yeah, protection in the book. They were hesitant, but generally maybe open to the idea, and they wanted to get back to Valignus once they figured out the price and such for this deal. Yeah, haven't really heard back from that yet. There was a bit of a thing with Thunderhome, I believe. Thunderhome wanted to suggest working together with Cormier a bit more, and Valignus was like, no. And Thunderhome was like, why? And Valignus was like, taxes, yes. And that was that. Turns out Thunderhome also does not like taxes. And that was about it, I believe.
I'll color in a few minor details. Well, Manakagan stored about them being minor. Powerful animals have been spotted in the region around the Dragon Coast, primarily around Naflin, likely as a result of Emizure utilizing the blood of Malar in a ritual to promote savagery. Thayan diplomats traveled to Westgate, seeking Bane worshippers to like, hey, yeah, we brokered a deal. They were promptly executed and strung up. Currently still an awkward truce between Cormyr and Symbia, as they're focusing on other affairs, which resulted in the Cormyrian expedition traveling to the south of the Dragon Coast to lurk around Elversold, which has currently led them to them being influenced by Cormyr, and resulted in a very stiff declaration from Valignith that if you choose to side with Cormyr in those city-states, I will break you and rebuild you again. Also, fire giants no longer dwell
yeah.
within the Giants Run Mountains, thanks to the work of Valignith and diplomatic interaction with Anglispark. They have relocated to the abandoned lair of Hezefe, whom we slayed quite a few sessions back at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was last session or the session before that, where that was organized. Which means the mountains are fairly empty, which is probably fine. You know, it's not like there's some enormous evil down below that more allies to guard the mountains against would have been nice.
Considering the intense troubles the fire giants have had in those mountains, including an attempted assassination on Victus, the leader of those fire giants, yeah, they didn't want to stay here, really. It was a compelling argument for them to leave.
I get it.
Me too, speaking as someone who left.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was that's the most prominent things, at least. There's also a bit of a prophecy by the hags and such. But let's just move on. Currently, all of our goals are still filled from last time. The first time in a long time, really. We still have a bunch of goals there, so you can remember them. And yeah, I'd say let's just jump straight into things.
I don't seek to adjust those in any way. Do you, Sheep? All right.
All right. Yeah. So news this year, or sort of early things that your characters would be informed about. From Missouri Literature, it is a general call from Anglispark. He's confident now that with the giants and the creatures and such from the Giants from Mountains, his forces have been bolstered with. I mean, there's not a lot of them, but they are tough. A human should not try to stand against one of these fire giants. A lost fight. And beyond that, they also require quite a lot of maintenance. Maintenance that he can win in Termish. As such, he's calling for whoever would like to gain some loot and some wealth by raiding the populous and prosperous nation of Termish. Trying to gather up whoever can show. Beyond that, he has, not officially, but you would learn of it anyway, let out the word quietly that he wishes to know the lairs of dragons around the Oshra Mountains, sort of in a nice aura around them, presumably so that he may conscript them to his army as he's done before. Consequently, the word of another green dragon in the eastern part of the forest have sort of died down, as it appears that dragon is trying to lay low, maybe not wishing to be sent as a shock troop into Termish.
Sure.
This year, a message will come from Thunderhome. It might happen a little bit later in the year. We'll just do it now so that it's there for you to handle when you want to ship. They report to Valignith that he will be invited as one of their nobles to come to a meeting in Elversold with a group of Cormyrian, basically a Cormyrian delegation, to discuss the future of the place. They figure Valignith has an interest in being there, and honestly, they think that things might go better if he is, because then, on one hand, they wouldn't have, if they agree to something with Cormyr, it's not their fault. He was there, he was part of it, and maybe some sort of truce or something can be had. I mean, the dwarves don't really want to fight Cormyr; they have no interest in that. Presumably, neither does Valignith. So, peace in our time. He can, of course, decline the invitation, but
No,
he has stated before he wishes to be seen as a member of Thunderhome.
he'll go.
All right. So that's something that is available. Skip that onto the areas here. Beyond that, you might both, if everyone really get this news, Area 2, when she gets here, that that around here, sort of the old lair, the Shrine of Millar, lizard folk of various markings have appeared from the swampy sort of caverns, looking around and blaring against the sun. Scouts or front runners or something from whatever is happening down below. More lizard folk have emerged.
There's the perhaps foretold coming of the grand united lizard nation come to smite the dragons on the surface sheep.
Beyond that, more interesting perhaps, is that a purple dragon will be informed. Valignant will be informed that a purple dragon by his people. Who does watch the valley here?
The valley would be the responsibility of his lizard folk, really.
Well, they will report that a purple dragon seems to have been creeping around, for the most part, trying not to be noticed, not flying anywhere, just sort of moving across the ground. They're not really sure. They haven't wanted to approach. It seems very dangerous and scary, but
Like what size are we talking about here?
I mean, they'll see big. It's big,
That's
uh, like a behemoth.
okay, sure.
Yes, like a behemoth. They nod to each other. That's it's very clear.
I love like a scale that the dragon like presents to like his minions. Like, is it bigger than this Triceratops? Like, of
Would you say in weight? No, no. Your tribe here thinks that the Triceratops is much bigger and greater than this one.
course.
That's something. Beyond that, I gotta ask you, Griff. Missouri has some boats laying about. Are they manned? Like they're sort of mostly just hanging out. Are they manned, still maintained, and sort of taken
I,
care of?
I believe so, yeah. That was like Nova Crease or like his greedy like ambition to expand the territory, and we've only been awake for 1 year, and Missouri's just sort of like the laid back person that's just like, well, I mean, they're not harming anything. That sounds decent enough, sure.
It was harder to tell while all the builders and travelers and such were coming and going. Like, but now that the ships have just been laying still here, it's clear that they're quite accident prone. People sort of at night guard slip in the water and disappear a little more frequently than would be expected. Um, no one's really sure what's happening. They just know that people disappear on them at night.
Okay.
My assumption there is that you have not been like that your policing has been in the forest and not sort of in
Yeah.
this
Yeah, the
various
dragon
areas.
has not even remotely considered like the possibility of needing to police the water
Yeah,
because
yeah.
why does this
The,
matter?
the night guards might have been on the boats and they're just gone the next day. There's been
Okay.
no sound, no anything.
Yeah.
They're gone. And that's happened, a couple of times. Not sort of so much that it would sort of disrupt things, but just a couple here and there. And it's sort of giving the people a bit of a paranoia. You never know
Okay.
when you're just not going to be around anymore.
All right.
All right, I think that's the current goings on news around. Do you
All
have any
right.
actions you want to take related to that or
Uh,
something else before I sort of begin to?
Yeah, let me handle this first. So Nova Korea is going to come back at the start of the year, as he had been directed to report back on what happened at the Giants Run Mountains with what she sent him, and some manpower to handle. And given Nova Kree's like fawning and ambitious and nature, as well as his ever desire to blame someone else for his fault, I don't think the review about what happened in the mountains is going to be very glowing in regards to like not just erasing but also fabricating evidence that would lead future Thane expeditions away from the Serpent Valley. I gave some thought as to how Emissary Leader Theor would reply, responding in regards to action, and then I directed it against her compulsion for no effort wasted. And
Hmm.
the way I feel it is that she already did like the most effort she was gonna do, which was fly to the Dragonfane and speak to Valigneth about the situation. Valigneth loves to care about anything and everything, especially problems that will not plague him. He's not paranoid, he just sees everything as something he has to deal with. This falls within that umbrella. So eventually the Red Dragon will have to get around to this, because that's what Valigneth does. He resolves these things. And so, rather than take any direct action herself, what she's going to do is say to Novacree, and I'll sum this up to speed this up, that she wants him to go back there, taking any like particular minions he wants to make use out of. And in the coming years, he's either going to learn the language of Thay, especially with how they construct their runes, so that he may eventually fabricate the stuff himself, or he is to find and enlist someone who can do that for her, using any means he sees fit.
Hmm.
Whether it's, it's up to Novacree's whim on that front. Gives him plenty of latitude on that regard. But he is not to return to his tower until he's completed that task. That is his main goal.
Or Novacree.
So he will go off into who knows where to do her bidding.
Mhm.
Yes, poor Novacree. That's the correct word.
Go
uh,
learn Thayan. Yes.
yeah, that's right. Who or what will he cozy up to? What Thayan exile will he manage to seduce and ply with his tongue? I don't know. That's his adventure.
That's awful phrasing.
That's Novacree for you. I think that's that. I wanted to take care of that. The other thing I'm going to do is because my character possesses a sea shimmer cloak, which I haven't made that much use out of, which gives her a swim speed equal to her speed and allows her to breathe underwater. She's going down into the coastline and ocean surrounding the Gulfmere Forest, and she's having a peek herself, like, because she's never given any thought to what the hell's down there, and so she wants to figure out what the hell's down there. Am I going to have to invest in aquatic minions? Or, like, has Malar's influence stemmed down here, and now there's like, if it's just natural predators, that's all fine and well. But if there's like some sort of aberrant like nation like emerging with like spell scars, she needs to know about that in advance. And she'll go herself.
Yeah, that sounds like a sort of a perception check, a nature check. I would probably say too.
Okay. Go ahead and make that a perception check. Come along, Emissary Leader Theor. 1d20 plus 17 for perception. It's gonna be 23.
All right. Yeah, she will basically do a wide circuit. There's nothing just immediately around her like area, but as going further out, she does find some signs. One that there's no big predators. She does find the remains of what seems to be a couple of large sharks that have been sort of torn apart by something. It seems like they partially have torn each other apart. Beyond that, she also finds further out a ripped apart sort of giant squid. It's not exactly easy to say what has torn it apart. You could do like a heal check if you want more details on that.
Hmm. What's she care? Yeah, I think we'll care for that. 1d20 plus 10 for heal. 11. Yeah, that's how much she cares.
No, it's hard to say. They've decayed enough that there's no way to tell. It's not recent. It certainly seems like they. I mean, even though that one thing could be said, they seem to sort of be out pretty far, suggesting that they haven't they have been killed not too long ago, but they clearly haven't been in this area for too long, suggesting that something is sort of putting down whatever things move in here.
Hmm. All right.
Beyond that, the 23, if there's more to find, she didn't really manage it this time.
Sure. Let's see. There's no aquatic nation nearby. She knows where she can pawn this problem off onto.
No
uh,
known sort of mer people or something.
all right. I think since she sent Nova Cree away, she's gonna wonder like, why does this like matter? And she like puzzles over it, and then she thinks about like everything that's happening like far to the north with like Cormir and Symbia and like that giant like shadow blight. And that could eventually, come all the way down here if that's left unchecked. And while she assumes someone more powerful than her will deal with that, they might not get around to it in a timely fashion. And so then she thinks, well, shit, maybe my minions will need this. Ah, why? And so Nova Cree had a decent enough idea with keeping this, and she figures she'll have the minions maintain it. She'll like direct orders to have them actively police in that area, police in the waters instead of on land
All
for
right.
this year.
Yeah, well, you have boats. You can give me a roll there and see if we can.
The might plus sovereignty. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, she's actively helping with this, so that'll be 8 dice. We have triple sevens and a pair of sixes.
Boy, that's pretty solid.
We'll go ahead and I'll say we'll deduct sovereignty by 1 due to the unease of the situation.
Sense.
Fucking dragon like wakes up and all these like newbies who've never seen her in action before, like what's going on here? The old ones who remember, like, oh no, here we go, it's happening.
He's active.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good policing. I'll roll something a little bit later in the year.
Okay.
Against that.
Yep. I'll be done taking action for the moment and give room for sheep, or if Eric ends up connecting to our call for Eric.
Hmm. You got something, Sheep?
Yeah. I think Vilignith, after having integrated the Code of the Dragon, sensing a bit of, there's a lot of discordant groups milling about in the Dragon Chain, and the sovereignty certainly isn't where it needs to be. So he would like to organize a bit of a day for the people, so to speak, so that everyone, all the different groups, with all their different ambitions, get together, so that Valignov can give them a bit of a talking to. What actually unites them? It's the desire to get stuff, their individual ambitions to profit, really, and they are all going to do that through the power of, well, each other and, of course, Dragonkind. And they need to remember that while they're absolutely allowed to do their own thing most of the time, there's a greater goal that they need to be aware of. So he is going to go to probably Thunderhome, really, and do a bit of shopping. Buying things like foods and meats that maybe the Dragonfane doesn't really have on stock, but Thunderhome might, as well as, of course, copious amounts of alcohol to have a good old fun day.
Yeah, corporate get together, shaking.
Exactly.
Sort of team building event.
What is our purpose?
Yeah. What is the purpose, Dragon? All right. Yeah, that seems like it's worth a try. I mean, you're far enough down that even just some shaking down could help raise. Yeah, I think it's worthy of a try to have a. It's probably got to be more than one day, but grand scheme of things over the year.
Let's
You want to try to do a treasure and sovereignty roll to
Territory and treasure.
territory treasure.
Territory and treasure. That was 5 dice. That is absolutely not going to work, is it? No. Of course it's not.
Yep. That's your attempt for the year as Valignith attempts this idea of uniting the disparate branches under one common theme.
Sadly, no one was really sure what the purpose ended up being.
I mean, that's how those meetings work, right? They're not about
Yeah.
answers.
Are we
Like,
paid during these
yeah,
hours? Someone
yeah,
whispers.
a gruff like dwarf is sitting next to like a former member of the Cult of the Dragon. Like, I just came here for the
Next to a
boondoggles.
lizard man who doesn't speak their language, It's they look around, they see some like Athenian monk, and they're like,
I'm here for the complimentary keychain. Oh, I got a framed
I
portrait
don't
of
know
like a.
anyone in this class. It's
We're united by the ideal of greed, and everyone's like, yeah, that sounds all right.
lizard
Oh,
folk.
boy.
We should have more lizard folk in the world. That is our desire. The prosperity of behemoths is the paramount thing, and then dwarves, look around and someone's like foaming at the mouth at seeing a real dragon, and it's yeah, it's you can see why there's friction.
Maybe they should keep in mind that the alternative to this sort of event is just Velignov eating all the most annoying and argumentative people instead. That
But
will certainly help the sovereignty.
In fact, we can do that cheap. If you just choose a stat to reduce by 1 permanently, we can up your sovereignty by 1.
No.
Like if you eat some might or eat some treasure or some influence. Influence, after all, represents all the merchants and such that the Cult of the Dragon brought their influence in with. Sort of the secret cabal that exists at quite a wide network.
if 5 years pass and you don't get this done, though, I'm absolutely invoking your draconic compulsion to get it done.
Yeah. I'm gonna try next year, but for now, we're gonna make this like a yearly thing, and on the 5th anniversary, people are gonna get eaten. So, yeah.
Yeah, they don't know there's a doomsday clock in the background.
Draconic patience clock.
I love that.
All right. All right.
Hey, Ari.
Harry, are you here? Are you with us?
Ari.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Ooh. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
All right.
My
Let me just catch you up to
connection
speed.
is still really bad, I see.
Potentially, but we can probably make it work.
Yes.
Probably.
So let me catch you up to speed with what happened that's news you might have heard about. Because of course with Cicatrix learned some different news than the other two.
Okay.
One,
Yes,
Cicatrix
about the bees.
no, not specifically. They're still here, but no
They're
one
still
really
bees.
seems
Okay.
really bothered by them. But news is that a lot of lizardmen have been coming up from the underground, over by Ashroot, the old village of Elm, and over by the Shrine of Malar. Missouri's old lair. Apparently, a bunch of them have been emerging, sort of looking around bleary-eyed at the sky and sort of scouting out in small parties to who knows why. Beyond that, Sethiston has a sort of sent a message that he thinks he works with the Black Network these days. He's not the leader of them by any means. He just sort of works with them because he thinks that it gives him access to some information. And apparently, they are taking a contract to help some Banites smuggle themselves into the city in secret.
Some what?
Banites, followers of Bane,
Oh.
the Black Hand.
Okay.
So he anticipates that some of those are going to be appearing sometime soon. Beyond that, apparently they have the backing of someone powerful who has an interest in this area. And, he doesn't know if it's helpful to you, but there you go. He never really knows if it's useful.
It stays now. Yeah, yeah. The secretary will thank him and to keep her updated on who this powerful person is. Also,
Sure.
that she definitely does not want to be the Black Red.
Well, of course not.
Yeah. Him either. She'll never. Yeah, okay. Well,
Beyond that, he's just trying to lay low because Severius is still on the sort of the hunting path for.
yeah. For treasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I I will wait my turn. I have something to respond to that.
All right. Well, Sheep has just tried to increase he's trying to do a get together with his people, which didn't really work to shake people together. But it's a hearty try. I mean, really, I think anyone can go. I don't have a preference as to who.
I'm basically like waiting in the initiative for the Emerald Enclave because they're gonna have like a powwow and then I want to actually like utilize them. So I'm sort of tied to their initiative before I take any other actions.
I would like to do a thing then,
All right.
because it doesn't really matter when that happens. Vellingham would like to go prospect some floating islands to see if there's a nice one.
Yeah, do it.
Basically,
What are you looking for?
something hot, something valuable that can be exploited later. You know, there was rumors all the way in like session 3 about like strange metals and fancy ores and all that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
that's what he's looking for. Just what even is there?
Yeah, I mean, basically, these things are whatever was in the earth and the top of the Underdark, the roof of this undersea here, that got blown up and split up. Beyond that, many of these earth modes are magically connected to the elemental chaos, which means that they usually have one or two elemental sort of what do you call it, like affinities. Some of them have water lakes that sort of sprout on them and sort of waterfalls that come out of nowhere. Some of them have weird gases. Some of them have very high mineral content. For example, you visited the one of I don't remember his name.
Of Asterix?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
Asterix,
Office Derelict.
which was Earth connected. Thus, it had both sort of gases. It had some acid, and it had a bunch of iron, sort of naturally growing in rods out of the walls. Beyond that, it had a wind connection, which meant that air sort of breathed and blew through it. The connection between air and earth, creating the poison gas.
Yeah, I think
Acid
ideally Vellingham was looking for like fire and earth. Or
Yeah,
something
a
along those lines.
single fire one would be very possible. There certainly are basically floating about volcanoes that have sort of a heart of fire inside them that just continuously produces heat. Finding one that has two, of course, is a little more difficult, but once it would have been a very difficult thing, right? Many of them are contested by various flying creatures. There's hippogriffs and griffins and harpies and such. But nothing that's going to contend with a red dragon. So we can sort of skip the encounter part of it. But yeah, I think given the difficulty of finding it here, it's more a matter of time and effort. So I'd say it really makes sense that it's either I think you could either use nature perception, dungeoneering, or arcana. I think each of like any of those could really be useful in this environment.
Are they different?
No, to me they're the same. I mean, you could argue about what kind of place he looks for with the various ones, but
Well, the thing is, my bonus to all 4 of those things is identical.
oh well,
So I'm just gonna roll. How about that?
sure, it's a good bonus.
29. That's pretty good.
29 is not bad, not bad. Yeah, yeah. You were looking at a check the DC 29, certainly up there. Expect. Yeah, DC of 25. So yeah, you can he flies out there and he spends. I mean, this is again over a long time, right? Like Emissary sort of scouting before. But eventually, yeah, you can certainly find amongst all of these one that has a in both an earth and a fire connection.
Wonderful.
I just love the visual now of you having like your two little flying behemoths try to tow it back to the thing.
I feel like that's gonna be difficult.
The lizard folk look on in horror.
It's like What's the Zelda game? Majora's Mask, I think, with the moon.
Yeah, Majora's Mask, the moon. Yeah, you have to perform the Song of Reset to refresh the timer. It's the only time you can save the game.
Oh, it's the
And
main
then
reason I never played
the
that
fire
game.
dragon attacked.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think moving that mode is out of the question for the time being. I don't think it's physically possible to just push it. But there may or may not be magic to do that with later.
Epic level magic can certainly mess with them.
It'd be nice to
Um,
get a bit of a bridge connection going or something.
Yeah. Could you give me a D4 and we'll see the general location of it?
Sure. Free.
So it is in the center location, around here
Wonderful.
somewhere. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. But so somewhere in there. Beyond that, I would like you to give me a D6. Now you found one that has a valuable mineral, so let's see how valuable.
2.
Two. All right, that is it is seamed full of copper.
That's terrible. What? Who needs copper?
Copper is useful, man. It conducts
Opus derelict.
I was promised exotic materials and valuable ore that I get
You
copper.
rolled a 2.
You know,
You know.
maybe there's nearby smaller modes that can be towed over that actually have real stuff.
That's all possible.
He just spends the next 5 years. He tells him, after
Oh,
5 years, the doomsday clock.
You know, it's like finding the perfect like house, like 30-acre landscape and 3 pools and a golf court, but it's made out of plywood.
Dude, I get it. I spent how many years in roles like trying to assemble the perfect materials to build my temple. I haven't yet described to you all.
Mhm, mhm. If this was a TV show, whenever we saw it, there would just be a blinding light coming from that direction, and like the faint song of angels, someone playing a lyre.
The camera never fully
Oh
cuts to
yeah.
it directly. It's always people's like faces when they look upon it.
Someone looks over there, and all the weariness just disappears. Like,
That's Malar, the god of comfort.
of building something.
Industry.
How is it all pearl? You know. All right, yeah, he's found something. It has heat. It has probably some dripping down magma sometimes. That seems like a malignity thing to do to want. It's a fairly decent size. It's got a bunch of copper. Probably, honestly, like I imagine if it has a lot of that and fire, it probably has a pool of molten copper sort of in the center, just glowing white hot. As it's just sort of laying there,
Yeah.
liquid form, slowly sweating off the
Yeah,
wall.
it would be a lot cooler if it was gold.
I mean, copper is more useful. Like,
It's a
how
consumption.
how can I, as a dragon, argue for copper being better than gold? I take that back.
Bronze. Bronze is useful.
Uh,
It's not that much worse than iron, really.
I mean,
It's
copper
just
is conductive.
Yeah.
That helps.
It's conductive, yeah.
Yeah, for all the electricity we have in Faerun.
I mean, in
I didn't think we'd have
Zinfisarial's
a
Serial
blue-gray
Flare, there was like this electrified plate.
It's true.
A lightning trap.
Yeah.
Shocking grasp, you know.
Yeah. Till Raxos made use of some of that in his lair with
in
goats.
the Black Dragons thing too.
Yeah. So electricity is canon, just like gunpowder, which
Done by magic.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that tanks are plausible.
Copper tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a reasonable escalation.
The steam tanks have advanced to the point of functionality. Rocket batteries. Oh, God. Just jumping into Eberron.
Harry, you said you had something? Before initiative kicked off, or no? Understood.
It might be another internet
be.
problem. Harry. Hello?
I thought I heard her
Hello.
breathe over there.
Hello, yes,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, well,
Her replies are coming in staggered and delayed.
hello.
So, like, what she's hearing from us, by the time
Yeah.
she speaks, it's completely different.
Probably. What a bother.
Hello. Can we just
Can we just what?
Oh, shit. Hear stream
Yes.
freely down upon her keyboard.
I mean, I no longer think we can hear everything that's being said. Just
No, I don't think so.
cuts.
you know what?
Yeah.
I'll just wait.
I don't
You
think
know, surely time will.
All right.
so. All right.
Sure, that came through.
Surely time.
Good. Then let's just do some of the stuff. Because upon the sea early this year, acting early, comes something that that many people haven't seen in this in these parts for a long time, because unexpectedly a new player has entered and sort of semi joined the coalition to contain Sembia and the shadow that surrounds it. A series of four black ships with crimson sails from Thay have sailed out into these general waters. They are not really allied with the other forces of the coalition, but they're not enemies either. They sort of make everyone feel a bit uncomfortable with their presence as they have entered general area. No one is really used to seeing Thay's fleet move, though it's well known that they have one. The ships named Disintegrate, Black Razor, Submission, and Flame's Fury is each carrying a red wizard, his apprentice, a host of gnolls, undead, and human crew, equipped as warships. Currently, they're sailing, sort of, taking their time sailing in here, followed by a couple of other smaller merchant vessels from the same area. No one's really entirely sure what they're going to do as they have made it here. Halldamir is resisting the Shadow Plague fairly well. Their king, however, is getting old, and he is a man of mythic power, certainly blessed by the gods of civilization. There is some nervousness that should he fall, then perhaps so would the fragile truce that currently exists. One that Halldamir had to sort of be lucky to get, everything considered. Beyond that, perhaps in a similar vein, there will be the call to conference from Halldamir and Thunderhome to meet in the new Little Elversalt, or rather, outside of it to the north. A series of tents and pavilions have been put up not long from the Comerian expedition camp, which is outside the city. It has soldiers from Iriabor, Easting, Priapearl, Proscure, and of course a few from Halldamir itself. To sort of organize things. Beyond that, the meeting seems to be headed by a couple of war wizards and a couple of purple dragon knights. Velignith is, of course, invited if he wishes to go.
Absolutely.
I'll be damned. I was gonna ask whether Malignant would be so bold as to go, and my goodness, that's a that's a stance.
I mean, what are they gonna try, right?
What? Possibly.
I know that's the Red Dragon arrogance there. Does he really think so little of his deeds and the impact he's had upon their minds?
The camp is certainly sizable. When he looks upon the expedition camps out there, he sees that they've built a small fort, and certainly they have more people than the Dragonfane could muster at the moment. At least ready and available. Beyond that, most of them are either mercenaries or veterans from the recent war. Beyond that, a lot of fresh recruits have been brought in. Various mercenary companies from Erebor who primarily uses those, and then recruits from a lot of the small settlements and a couple of veterans from Comir. Beyond that, of course, a core of dragon knights and war mages. The pavilion doesn't seem to have been made with a dragon in mind, and certainly the dwarves that bring Belignith, or at least offer him to go, he probably wants to meet them there, is the anticipation. Would actually ask that he meet with the dwarves a little bit away, and then they walk together to the tent, just to avoid any lightning bolts or something being thrown at Belignith on sight, expecting him to attack.
Sure. You know, united front.
Yeah, the dwarves will greet these humans with a good amount of respect, but not bowing. Simply offering to shake the hands of the leaders. The expedition seems rather puzzled, taking the dwarves away and asking them what the hell, basically what is this? What is this supposed to mean? But eventually they accept that if this is how Thunderhome wishes to do things, then them and their dragon can be, admitted to the meeting. The main topic discussion is what's going to happen with Elvasol. Comir wishes to have a rule of law. They wish to have an established conduct in Elvasol, and more importantly, they want the city to have peace and prosperity. They ideally want Comirian forces to be able to freely move through the city, and are willing to offer not to tax it, nor to make it an official part of here.
I think I was gonna listen to that for a bit before he'll speak up, preferably interrupting someone, as he'll say, "I'm unsure where exactly this negotiation is coming from, considering that you are arguing as if you had influence on Elversalt. It is a city rebuilt by Thunderhome and myself, and it is not like we have the express intention of making it anything other than a prosperous and free trading center. Yet you seem to, at the same time, want to force some benefits for you, guarantees that you may use it to spread your influence, keep your troops. I'm unsure where your leverage is exactly." You may, of course, argue that you represent a powerful nation. However, I do seem to remember that there's a lot of trouble up north currently, considering that actually using said strength to enforce regulations on a place where you really have no say in the first place, that seems to me as if you were willing to spread yourselves rather thin.
It's true. Cormier does have trouble in the north. We are the shield that guard all lands against eternal darkness. Even to your draconic mind, whatever viciousness lie there, you don't want a world to be swept off by the followers of Shah. It is in your best interest that we do well in this fight. We are not looking to spread our influence. What we are looking to do is to clear our... And that is what we would like to do, Velignith, Red Dread of the Mountain. We are looking to turn our back to this region. Or if we do so, we don't want a massacre to occur while we are looking away. We want to ensure that this place can develop peacefully and be a home for many of the people looking for a place away from war.
Who exactly are you suggesting would massacre who? Why?
The city has fallen in the past, so much so that it had to be rebuilt.
Yes, I do remember the rebuilding part, considering I was part of it. Do you think I would destroy the city again for no reason, with no external influences on it? Quite the opposite, I think.
Centaurs have moved through this place. They've attacked it multiple times. We hear trouble that monsters are amassing south on the coast.
Then it should be in your best interest to make sure that I care for this place, such that I have an interest in making sure it does prosper, rather than trying to force your own foot in the door, so to speak.
And hence, here we are. Sort of, the knight reached out his hand. Let us work together to make this place great. We welcome your presence in it, and we hope that you would welcome ours, so that we can protect it together. If we want the same thing for it, there should be no trouble. You say you want peace and prosperity. That is what we also want. Even if it does not directly benefit us, we believe that the safety of the people here is its own benefit.
I've a proposition then that expands on your words. You say you want to be able to turn your back to this area as a whole to focus on the true threat. It is very much in my interest too. The entire southern shore is something I have an interest in. I do, however, believe that Cormier currently has quite the influence in Tizir.
Tysir is a self-governing nation, ruled by the people that returned to it. They used to call themselves the Wasted Wheat. Now, they are no longer wasted. They are growing strong. And yes, we are in good relations with the people of Tysir.
I would propose the following. Cormier retreats any and all military and political forces from anything south of the shore. In return, Elversol will, of course, prosper. In addition, I see a potential future relationship between Cormier and myself, as well as Thunderhome. We, of course, I do not believe, can give direct military aid in your current conflict, but we could contribute in other ways.
Tysir and its people's desires are not for me to decide. If they wish to align themselves to Cormier, then they're free to do so. We will not forbid them for acting as they wish to do.
I did not
say Elversol.
I did not demand that you change the people of Tysir's minds regarding Cormier. I merely stated that I want you to take away any and all military and political and any influence you're currently extending to Tizia. If the people still want to keep Cormia in high regards, then they are absolutely allowed to, but I do not want it to be an outpost.
Oh, but they're not forced. Our people are there as a request by them to help keep the peace against bandits and profiteers that might take advantage of their weakened position. Beyond that, the Red Banner host has moved through the area most recently, and the monsters amassing in the south are a greater threat to Zizia than even to Elversalt.
I see.
Let us keep this discussion to the topic at hand. The city of Elversalt and its future. Now we will use the road. It is required for us to move our forces between the smaller settlements in the west and Tessir in the east.
Why, I'm suggesting a way where that won't be necessary for you to ever move to Tizia.
We simply wish to extend a hand to Thunderhome, the dwarfs of the south. We have had troubled relations in the past, but we wish to find common ground and share this trading post that is Elversalt.
You cannot share something that does not belong to you.
And that's why we're here. We wish to come to an accord as to what such a thing would require. The people do want us here.
I think you're misunderstanding the nature of this negotiation. The outcome is, well, there can be many, most of which beneficial for all parties involved. But if you, Cormia, and all you represent wish to have an influence on Elversalt, that means that you want to reduce my influence on Elversalt, which I would take offense to. I would hate to have to do that. Elversalt, we all want to prosper, to be a useful, profitable city. You are not needed for that goal to succeed.
And yet we wish to not hinder it with our own actions and movements. If you wish to simply pay for it yourself and are not bothered by our movements through the area, then that is acceptable too.
Still fail
We
to
simply
see the
wish to not
necessity.
cause offense when our forces move through.
Still fail to see the necessity for any forces to move through Elversalt when they are so desperately needed up north.
They might be required to come through, to go north. The sailing route is much faster than the route around the Stormhorns, nor will they get raided by the natives of the marshes.
I'm willing to offer free passage through Elversalt for any forces moving north, but any forces moving south will require repeated negotiations.
Precisely. Our people might require going home at times. We don't conscript people for life, you understand. Should we contact you whenever a soldier wishes to return to Iriabor, Priapurl, Proscure? You will be contacted a lot, I can assure you. This was not a problem when the city lay in ruin. There was no one to ask. Yet now we have contacted you as we understand you have a stake in this settlement, and we do not wish to offend you unduly in our continued use of the road.
Individual soldiers are none of my concern, but organized group movements I am more than fine to be informed about.
That's acceptable. You will be informed. And beyond that, there will be peace. Yes?
In Elversort?
And in the Dragon Coast.
I'm still not happy with Cormyrean presence in Tizir. If that were to be rectified, you could even perhaps have some support rather than the resistance I'm currently offering.
The people of here requested protectorate status, and we would not deny them that. Beyond that, they are a natural extension of Cormyr's borders. Their people and our people have always been brothers, and the current relationship better reflects that than our previous one. She gives a hearty smile. So too it is with many of the other peoples on the dragon. Perhaps even that most black sheep of a brother in Westgate.
I don't think I'm very good at this whole talking thing. My point is that I will have problems with Tizir for the entire time that Cormyr has a presence there, no matter whether the people want it or not. You should be aware of that and consider rectifying it, so that I may instead support Cormyr in a fight that, it is true, I would rather wish they put up a good fight in. As for the topic at hand, however, that we should not forget, Elversalt will stay as it is currently. It is free, it will prosper. You may move through it as long as I am informed about necessary troop movements. I will not stop individual travelers on the roads.
It's good. Good. Of course, in the future, when the city has grown up, it shall be allowed to make its own decisions about the future. But that is a discussion for a completely different time. We understand your concern regarding our presence in Tizir. Perhaps you have some interests, but I have neither the liberty nor desire to negotiate on. So let us not bore our dwarven friends with.
Yes, Tizir is a political conundrum, but one worth keeping in mind.
I'm glad to see that you too favor peace over war. So, I give the nod and says, "Now to the banquet. We will have some extra cattle butchered for your appetite." And yeah, that's basically how it'll go. Thunderhome will pretty much support Bellicus and Elversalt. They do want Elversalt to stay independent, and this way it's the dragon's fault. They're clearly under the thumb of the dragon. At least that's what they're okay with Cormyr thinking. Because that means that Cormyr doesn't ask anything of them, and maybe even shows them some sympathy.
But we're totally being coerced. The Red Dragon made us do it.
We have no choice. No, don't take Elversalt away. We have no choice.
Brave, good, and lawful people, we are being held hostage by the Red Terror of the
trading prices because it's hard to have a dragon around. They are somewhat greedy and underhanded in this, but it seems to work. Could you give me a diplomacy?
I think I made a good enough case for the fact that there's a bit of a implicit or else.
You have certainly stated that outright, too.
Yeah. I am curious as to how effective that sort of thing can be against this expedition.
I wouldn't have high hopes if it weren't for the fact that Cormyr is currently surrounded by shadows and black dragons.
Right, with the fucking flying keep camping in their territory, right? Yeah, it's keeping the war wizards occupied.
So I would love to make a roll, but my character builder just crashed and it won't start again. Give me a second.
All right. That's weird.
come on.
Well, I mean, your bonus is in like the mid to high teens. We can determine enough pretty easily just by seeing you roll a flat d20.
Oh, wait, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, last time I did that, I vastly underestimated my bonus. Okay, that's plus 18.
Yeah.
26, that's...
It's not bad.
could be
It's a
worse.
moderate success. Yeah. There's nodding and smiling. I mean, with an intimidate, you basically state your fact. You don't really ingratiate yourself. They don't like Velignith, but they certainly see that he has a certain size and he has a power. Like he could kill a lot of people if he wanted to. He could burn a lot of towns, and he does command a significant force. And really, Cormier ultimately would, of course, like to free the mountains, but that is so far down the list of priorities, especially right now, that it's not even worth considering.
That's future Cormier's problem, if future Cormier exists.
So they're happy just to be able to move through and continue to use the road freely. If the people of Elversalt later on decide they want to join Cormier and offer themselves up as a protectorate, then who are they to deny him?
I do.
They've done.
I do love that for Gritted Tiefling, it's like, they're free to make their own choices. If you ever talk to Cormier again, I will destroy you all and rebuild this town from scratch.
Yeah.
Oh, they are welcome to choose. It's cake or death.
I feel like their position here isn't much better than when they were being ruled by the cult.
Well, they can earn money. There's probably a bunch of influential people there who represent some of Velignith's influence there. Corrupt to the bone and just hungry for profits. Now that Tizir is harder to do that stuff in.
Oh, the greed of Tiamat. Oh, gross.
Influences everything. All right.
Back to initiative then.
Yes, the Temple of Ogma have come into some problems actually, and they will sheepishly send a message to Velignith stating that the copying of this book will take a little bit of extra time. They hadn't really read it much at this point, and it turns out the copy they have is fairly dangerous to read, and they're going to need some expert help to do this sort of thing. Now, that is something that does intrigue them. I mean, that sounds exciting, but it also cost one of their members, a senior member, his life. Apparently, he got melted as the book breathed acid on him, as if it was a dragon. And so they have to find someone who knows how to deal with that stuff.
Oh dear.
Because
Good
it is troublesome.
Good news, your copy. Should it be a copy into the genuine article, probably won't breathe dragon breath onto the reader sheet.
Yeah, but
if they can make a genuine copy, of course. But
If.
they're going to do their best.
that is pretty cool.
They do believe it wouldn't affect dragons, but they don't have any of those that are like Scholar Ogma dragons. So
listen, you need a expert on draconic magic who is also a dragon. Velignith will just go himself. He's an expert. He can
that would
help.
defeat the purpose.
He can help them research.
We've already had this conversation.
They might consider it.
Yeah, consider it.
But for now, they're gonna ship around, see if they can find an Ogma dragon somewhere. A nerd dragon. That would help them. Because this is already this is troublesome. At least some way to predict what kind of breath it is that the book will breathe on them. But then you can do things like neutralize it or.
I'm pretty sure that other red dragons would call Velignith a nerd. Just saying.
True.
They would only do it once, but they might.
Zambia is preoccupied and can't take their own turn. The Red Banner host. Right now, they're kind of happy just being the worst in Westgate. I think actually they're going to spend their turn doing a specific thing, which is just permanently reduce Westgate's treasure as they just like destroy things they don't understand and then eat people's food and just bullies to everybody. So Westgate is now a permanently less wealthy place just from having these people sort of in control. There's some real resistance to these guys, but no one really has the military power to force them over. Well, one group does. The Rippers, pretty powerful, sort of undead mind flayers and whatnot. But they don't seem to have any interest really in spending their power doing that. They're perfectly happy just hanging out for now. They have other things in sight. Hold is dealing with things over in the mountains. They're pretty happy here. Continue to sort of get ready to strike at Termish. Dragon actually doesn't exist anymore. They've been consumed. Tessier's good. Thunderhome had their action there. When returning, Thunderhome will inquire with Valignity, probably on the way home, as to what his plans are for the rest of these mountains. I mean, now in the south, it seems that orcs and like some like ogres and stuff have seemed to have spread out from their tribe areas. They're thin. Like there's not a lot of them now, but there's a lot of land that's not used, right? Maybe something could be done with it.
That is a good point. Valignant would certainly want to expand into some of the more, useful lands.
And now that they have, come to an accord, as according to Elversalt, they seem to have it worked out. This relationship of acting as if Valignant has control over Thunderhome.
Yeah, as
Or,
if.
Yeah, maybe they could work together on something like this too. The dwarves have no qualms about subjugating hobgoblins and whatnot to work for them. There's a lot of quarryable stone here. There's some, there's one silver mine. Who knows? There could be more.
I mean, one is proving to be problematic enough, but
Imagine if there's three. Then Valignant could have his own.
I don't like the implications of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, I mean, the mountains, I think, are pretty large.
Yeah.
So, like,
Oops, talking about dead and dry, but yeah.
Valignant's not going to say, no, you're not allowed to expand. Like, just do your thing, and if we get problems, we resolve them in whatever manner Valignant sees fit.
Yeah, that's what they're going to try to do then. Just expand. They succeed.
How?
Spend time basically stringing out settlers here. They have some control of some hobgoblin tribes here in the south, along the mountains. Not too many, but enough that they sort of have a presence of scouts and whatnot. And they're going to begin sort of moving out to get more entrenched in this area. More small holds can be constructed, dug in, trading posts and whatnot, to see if they can prospect for minerals and sort of the general this sort of whole side of the mountain.
Yeah, I think Valignant would like to do the same, basically. Just the other side, basically.
Like straight
Please
down
tell
here.
them.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
tell
Down
them
to
to
the
not
fort.
ruin
Yep.
all the ritual sites.
Down to the fort here, I imagine.
Yeah.
All right, give me a might and influence.
Yeah, don't break all the rituals, right? Baka.
5, 4. It's pretty good.
All right, yeah, I think he can begin to push his people in here and like establish a presence. What color is he? I guess he's like yellow, red. I guess that makes sense. Red.
What color is he? Come on, man.
Oh, I was looking at your faction color, and it's like a star.
Yeah, I've never. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the symbol.
All right. So he's moved down here to Clipium.
Oh yes, Clivium. So many memories.
Yeah.
Taking basically control of this place down to the valley and then a bit further down. As his people begin to do that, though, they notice that around the dam, it's difficult to actually establish any sort of control. The fort down here, it's fine. There's some orcs and such that moved in, but they're quickly just integrated or killed. They don't really pose any organized threat. There's the question of, well, three questions really. What's to do with this, for example, the city here of the dead, these interior mountain regions that are, for the most part, just dry and without much value.
I want them watched, but not lived in, basically.
Okay, so do you want to extend basically like scouts
Yeah.
to continuously comb through them?
Yeah. If
Right.
anything happens there, I want to be informed about it.
That's basically what you're doing with the valley currently. Do you want to settle it?
Yes. I think the
Yes.
valley, it's time.
It has things in it. You can grow stuff. It's livable. All right, we'll begin to settle that too. And what about these high mountains? They're not really easily traversable. No one ever really scouted them out.
I mean, I'm less interested in the mountaintops rather than the potential for, resources and like orc tribes, goblins. Maybe there's leftover kobolds, although I'm pretty sure they've all died out due to pure stupidity just by themselves.
The kobolds never really lived much in the mountains. Most of them lived either on the northern plains or very much in the southern plains here in an area called the Mud Hills. Here. A lot of them were killed back a while back by adventurers, but the population has bounced back reasonably. So there's kobolds, they're just not here. Yeah, of course, a bit further south here is the Goblin Crags, where numerous tribes of goblins, seemingly just teeming with the things, have sort of been a breeding ground for the giants' forces for a long time. In the future, that could begin being integrated. Right now, though, patrolling this region is quite a large area.
Yeah.
It's already a big expansion. All right. I mean, Thunderhome's happy with this. This seems great. Yeah, mutual expansion, mutual glory. Everything's turning up dwarf. You know. Yeah. Dayan's host is looking at these amount of lizard folk, and he has no idea who they are or what's going on. And nor does he really care. There's a couple of lizard folk. There's been some before. Who knows what that even means? He has no context as to why they're lizard folk now. So whatever. He's just gonna keep doing his thing, ruling these planes. It's great. Surely it's an isolated incident.
That's right.
All right. All right. The Emerald Enclave
All right.
is going to have a conclave. At least they'd like to. So let's pull a couple people out here. We just do it here, really.
All right.
Gonna move them down here so we have a little more room because they actually went to go into the mountains.
Sure.
As basically people of interest are going to meet. Currently, the leader of the whole enclave is Cinder Moon, but currently she's out, allegedly hunting this Nabanian spirit, who seems to also sort of be hunting her. No one's really high enough level to understand exactly how this is going on, but they trust that it is. She seems to be too busy to care about anything else than trying to deal with this spell plague stuff. Thus, currently, the rule comes to the Archdruid of Cedarspoke, a nominally independent township inside the Gulfmere, mostly of hunters and whatnot. But he is an Archdruid and certainly a high-ranking member of the Enclave. He's here. Celesnar is his name. devoted enough to Sylvanus that he has been granted the boon of being turned partially into a tree. So he is a treant, with the hope one day of, being granted the boon of becoming a full, just a tree, it's just non-sentient tree.
All right.
That is what Sylvanus grants his most beloved servants.
It's that seems like a step in the wrong direction in regards to like power progression as far as the dragon is concerned.
It's a peaceful existence in harmony with nature. It's great, but certainly his currently he's gotten the step up, and then the next one would certainly be a bit of a he's basically a bit of a peak of power
Right.
in his current form. He's a giant thing, like he's massive as a treant, sort of an ant-sized creature. Once was a human, but now he's a tree. Beyond that, there are people who he represents basically the Enclave. The Enclave is gathering here to try to figure out who exactly are we, who else is around here with interests, and how can we try to bring some sort of consensus as to what should happen now, because everything's quite confused. As such, currently not a member of the Enclave is here, a paladin of Nobanian who has, isn't really following this current avatar of Nobanian, but believes he still follows the spirit of Nobanian's faith. It's a he's very clear on what he believes, but no one else really seems to be. He represents a group of either the true faith Nobanianites or heretics, depending on if you believe Nobanian should be a Spellscott spirit or not. Their whole thing is sort of fractured, but he represents the ones who are not into spellscarring. Beyond that, someone has come down from the south. This forest has always been strongly Nobanian and Sylvanus controlled the Gulfmere. Malari was sort of banished from it for a long time, really, 100 years ago, in a duel with Nobanian's avatar. And so there aren't really an archdruid of Malar here, though in recent years more have trickled in. Certainly Imizura's move has been the greatest of that sort. As such, she's invited as a being of power and interest, and a friend of Cinnamon herself. Essentially going here with her as her representative.
Right. I think the dragon likes it. Yes, being of power and interest, and Cindermoon's representative. Good. These are good labels.
Someone has come from the south who has put an interest in this. Someone that Emissary has met before. Mr. Fireshield. Archdruid of Myliki. An ally of Sylvanus. Not a member of the Enclave, but certainly a powerful individual with an interest from the south. Where he continuously is known for battling the Spellbikes. Traveled quite far after hearing what happened to Starmantle, and might well pay it a visit to see what it looks like now. A surprise visitor has also arrived, fourth powerful member. Of course, there's more druids here, but these are sort of the faction leaders, if you will. Many of the free druids gathering around Beros is Velmina, an archpriest of Telona, the Lady of Poison and Plague. Someone that, Riminthir certainly suspected was involved in what happened to him, south. A goddess that has become very powerful lately, and who is traditionally an enemy of Sylvanus.
Ah. Yeah, that doesn't fit in the whole like nature umbrella of Sylvanus.
They're getting a lot of bad looks. But they're here nonetheless, and well, if you argue that the Nobanianites and Melorites shouldn't fight, then you certainly can't argue that the Telona people aren't allowed either. They're powerful. They have grown more powerful since the Spell Plague. They have certain strong beliefs. And beyond that, she will approach Emizure ideally before the conversations with the others begin.
This is permissible. I do not think my dragon is not the sort to go hiding and think she wants to be known invisible, especially because she does have Cindermoon's blessing as Cindermoon's representative here.
Belmina will then approach the.
Yes. You don't even have to go through an intermediary. I mean, Missouri Leader Theory is here without minions. Except for probably Serena, who's old at this point and like is forced to like come along with her to chronicle things.
She appears old and withered, though given her faith, it is hard to know whether the boils and such on her skin is if it's because she's old or just a boon or what you might say from the Lady of Poison. She does have some people with her, some drow, perhaps a were-rat, a couple half-elves, the like, all looking sort of wild in their appearance. They certainly appreciate the druidic lifestyle. She appreciates, or approaches, I should say, Imizure and will sort of go close enough that she can talk, but not attempt to touch in any way. It seems that's sort of taboo for her right here.
Yeah.
Perhaps people have made sure that she knew that would not be appreciated, given her obvious condition of disease.
And Missouri Leader Theory permits this lesser creature to approach her, scrutinizes, her eyes narrowing, in curiosity.
The priestess wouldn't really call her a druidess. Looks at Missouri, and Missouri can certainly see that there is an admiration there. The eyes glancing towards the fangs that hold some of her poison, and below just running across the serpentine sort of elegant green scaled body. Admiring perhaps Imisure's ability to create the very essence of what Telona is, which is poisonous death. She begins her conversation curtly, without too much preamble, as these powerful people tend to do. I am Lady Velmina, Archpriest of Telona. It is an honor to meet you, Emissary Lidrathier. I have heard much about you. Some of your people are partial to my lady.
I cannot say the same about you, Archpriest of Telona. This is my first hearing of you in this region, and your presence here.
I spend most of my time in Termish. It is a place most populous, and a place where my lady's gifts can be shared well.
Missouri like tilts her head, like looking up at the canopy. Ah, yes, Termish, the target of the dragon Anglispark. Yes.
This is for many years, yes, though I'm not so much concerned with who rules what. What I'm concerned with is what we could do about such places, in general, together. I understand you have quite a bit of influence in this forest, and it is a great pleasure to me to know that this conclave has accepted influence from a creature such as yourself. The lady does love your kind. Your breath is a blessing to her.
Like Missouri is just like, look, it's like a mixture of like, man, like these lesser creatures like fawn and worship over like things. Who can even understand them? He says, what is it specifically you would wish to work with me together about, Archpriest of Telona?
I wish to have me and my people be permitted, not all of us inducted, of course, but be permitted to enter the enclave. This would allow us to work alongside people of your own, as I understand it, philosophy, to bring the Enclave to a state where it can be properly used to reduce the amount of people, amount of society that lies around these lands. Perhaps for different reasons, you believe that through solitary wildlife, they will find strength, and I merely believe that through a weakened state of their society, more will be willing and able to accept my lady's gifts. I'm offering an alliance. We could work together. You could help me get in here, and together we could drive this place towards expanding, towards the wildlands, towards ending that damnable state that most people live in, that of society, civilization as a whole.
Just like a Faerun specific question, man. Malar and like Talona don't have like any special like relation or connection to each other, right? Like
They share
alliance
some
or
of the
like
same. They share some of the same enemies, but as the gods, not particularly. No.
I didn't think so.
Millar is generally not super into killing through disease or sort of underhanded means. He prefers the hunt, and so
Mhm.
their methods are usually different enough that though they might sometimes like work for the similar goals, they're not divinely sort of into.
Hmm. The green dragon snorts and says, "I see why you would come, asking me for this aid. Given that your dark lady does not fall anywhere within the sphere of Sylvanas, considering how this enclave consists entirely of those elements, you are put in an unfortunate bargaining position." While Malar does seek to topple civilization, I struggle to ascertain what specific benefits you could provide in this endeavor. Tell me, how does your Dark Lady feel about the spell scar?
She slightly sort of waves a hand and says, "The lady is not very concerned with the state of such a thing. It is an amateurish attack upon the body. Something she could create in a much more virulent strain if needed. She is not impressed by it. Something that can only be spread with the active action of its victim will never cover everyone." Of course, if aiding in dealing with such a thing is required for our cooperation, I can offer that as well. We have few allies, but most recently, we have come into a very powerful one. Yes, he smiles slightly and says, "The darkness that now clouds the north might well spread, though we would hope that this place could be spared from it. It could, if an ally of Shah had its interest in mind."
Hmm. Trying to determine whether the dragon would take that as, oh, who am I kidding? She's a fucking dragon. She's not gonna take this as a threat. Uh, Missouri, like squints. I think she's trying to like follow the connection. Like, okay, Lona, Shar, like darkness, and says one topic of concern which would be brought up, I am certain, will be that of the darkness which spreads in the north. Given its nature, the Emerald Enclave is awakening it to its surroundings. And as it does so, will cast out its influence and might against those it sees as unnatural. Its leader, Cindermoon, very much has that attitude.
Lomina nods. Says, Cindermoon will not be troubled by our presence. She is concerned with other things, things that we can help her with. She has also, in the past, been, shall we say, blessed by the Lady of Night herself. They have an intricate and complicated relationship, one I'm not entirely partial to. But I do understand that our presence here, to her, will not be a problem. That said, should she directly induct us, it might bring some more concern to those who are already her detractors.
This archpriest making a claim that Cindermoon and Talona have like some sort of like prior connection. Does this archpriest believe that to be true?
Give me an insight check.
Yeah, I'll give you an insight check. That is a 17 bonus. Okay. That's a 20.
It's hard to tell with her withered skin. That said, she is not attempting to conceal that she does believe that Cindermoon will not be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Ari, that's so. But that's not like something that's like in character, like bandied about a whole bunch, particularly given Cindermoon's like epic power.
Yeah.
User leader theory like squints and says, I have no direct problem with you at this time. I can endeavor to make an argument on your behalf. However, considering your outsider nature here, and that while I am Cindermoon's representative, I will be a outsider threat to some already, I find it difficult to. She says, you will have to make some sort of declarative support, particularly against those who wield the blue flame. That is going to be the most compelling argument you can make. Doing so, of course, would grant you the blessing of Cindermoon's representative. Which is obviously Missouri Legion Theory.
Lomina nods to herself. Says, then so it shall be. I'm glad to have spoken to you. Your reputation travels ahead of you. Though perhaps it is good that mine hasn't. The others might see me more as a threat if they knew what I was capable of.
And Missouri says, the best predators are not always known until it is too late.
She probably smiles like slightly in sort of a bit of a grim smile, and then just nods. Says, perhaps we should not linger too long. Wouldn't want anyone to think we were conspiring.
The Green Dragon snorts and says, then go, Archpriest of Talona.
She will. Slow walk to go to essentially what is a large circle, just in the woods, like a bit of a clearing. In the middle stands Salazar, the big tree. Close to him stand Veyros. They seem to have been chatting a little bit, while Norlos, the paladin, is sort of at the edge of the circle. He seems to feel a bit uncomfortable, like basically being an outsider. It's not how he used to be here. He's a not a Wemmick. He's a were-lion.
How does this wereline react? Like, is upon like beholding the magnificence and grandeur that is a Missouri Leader Theater, is there like any like deep like glares of like hatred? Is there like furtiveness? Is there like in actively avoiding to look at someone, you are then showing like something in that regard? Like, How does the wear line behold the dragon?
It's give me an insight check.
I could do that.
He wouldn't.
27.
Okay, he's not a particularly good liar. Um, his eyes glance to Missouri as she arrives at the clearing. Then there's a clear look of he had hoped and maybe even tried to convince himself that Missouri wouldn't be here. This clearly makes things more difficult.
Like an oh damn.
Yeah, it's sort of a way that he probably knew, but had just had time enough to convince himself that maybe not. And those hopes were dashed. And then he steels himself. Closes his mouth, gets a bit serious. In this. As everyone's gathered, Vilmina taking a little bit longer. Salazar will sort of speak up slowly, as he does, and say, "Welcome to the conclave. We are all here because we are interested parties who wish to discuss what should be done about the spell-scarred cult that have been building strength at the south of this forest. This will be a general statement of intent and of a commitment to action by all parties present at the end of these discussions. If a party wishes to leave them, they are capable of doing so at any time and will not be stopped. Veros, Fire Shield, will step forth as the first one to speak. I have come from at a great distance to speak to you here. She looks around, perhaps focusing more on Celesnar and Norlas, but also a little bit on Imisura. He doesn't seem to really care for Velmina. He doesn't seems to almost ignore her as if she isn't really important to him. What must be done here is clear. The spell plague has affected our land, our people, and that is something that cannot be allowed. Yet it has already been shown in Starmantle, this very forest, that the spell plague can be cured, that it can be restored, fixed. We believe such a move is possible too with people. If we could secure it, it is possible that some of those affected would willingly let themselves be cured. Beyond that, those who would not willingly do so could be made to see a better way. Perhaps when they have been cured, they will be thankful. If nothing else, in attempting, we might learn something important about this whole affair that might make it more possible to do such things in the future. We believe that violence at this time is premature, and that acting with wisdom and great preparation is ideal. Norlas will speak. I believe that such a move is the right one. I would dislike seeing my brothers and sisters of the faith destroyed for their misguided choices. I have not chosen as they have, nor have many others, but those who have, Nobanian would wish them to have a second chance. In this we can all act together, and together we can lift more than each could individually. We will protect this land, stop any further incursions, contain them in the area they are currently in, and then work to cure them. I can commit my people to that action. In everything, we will work to guard the area, to keep our fellows secure. Elmina will speak up. I know I am an outsider amongst you, I know some of you find dislike in my presence, and yet I can offer a lot of knowledge on things such as the spell Scar. It is ultimately a sickness, an affliction, something that I normally would not attempt to cure, and that I would advise attempting to cure even here. I do believe, however, that my lady could create a unique solution to this problem that would end those afflicted by the spell Scar without affecting those who were not taken with it. Perhaps even something that could burn it from their minds, leaving them husks for us to study afterwards. This would be effective, and you all know we are capable of it. Vera's fire shield seems rather disgusted by it. I mean, Myliki is a known. So she does indeed seem to suggest that she could make a plague that seems to target those with spell scars uniquely, meaning that she could sort of get them all with it, and then have them as meat puppets to study later, if that's the desire. Salazar will look to Emizure for her to say her piece on what should be done.
And Missouri looks at Zalaznar, uncertain about like the etiquette of lesser creatures, thinking like, does the Archdruid of Sylvanas need to like speak first? But if she's being looked at,
Mhm.
she'll sort of like rise up. Oh yeah, like a beautiful like shaft of sunlight catches her like gleaming scales just so. Oh yeah, her beautiful teeth as she adopts that smirking pose character portrait. She
Ah,
says, when I initially arrived, the Dragon Coast, and met a representative of the Emerald Enclave, I learned not just of the power represented here, but also of its dedication against the agents of the Far Realm, against the blight that threatened to spread across this world. In my time, I have encountered that, cast-offs from Cormyr, congregating into a massive settlement led by an aberrant floating entity, claiming itself the kingdom, seeking to ally itself with aberrant entities below. I had seen Spellscar consuming even another of my own kind, and I slew it. I even pursued that desire to protect nature by aiding Cindermoon in purging Spellmantle. Not Spellmantle, Starmantle. From what I have witnessed, the Spellscar is a sickness upon nature that will fester and grow stronger if left untreated. The spell plague happened once, but there's no guarantee it cannot happen again. That more invaders from the far realm will not come to threaten nature unless action is taken. I had hoped the Emerald Enclave was a powerful force that would take action. I am hoping that it's accomplished after this conclave, because from what I have seen, should it continue to dither without making a proper response to protect nature, then it will be lost. And that can only be done by purging this. Should a peaceful remedy that does not involve slaying those afflicted come into development, then let it be deployed then. But until then, no mercy can be taken, for anyone who is afflicted by the spell scar is no longer entirely themselves, but instead controlled from something beyond.
Norlas will speak up, perhaps out of turn, saying, that is easy for you to say when it is your people that are affected, not your friends, allies, loved ones.
She says,
If it was differently, surely you would act differently. Or did you slay your own kind as soon as they were affected?
Yes, lest it grow too powerful for me to destroy.
He is taking a little back at that. Give me a diplomacy check for this.
Yeah, we'll do that. And given her rather hostile and aggressive attitude towards Versicatrix, not Versicatrix, Theristrix, that is certainly true. 1d20 plus 21 for diplomacy. Like 27. I won't re-roll that.
Listener slowly nods, looks over and says, "You believe that it would spread. Surely we've shown that we can contain such a thing. It was contained in Starmantle using the power of the Emerald Enclave, and we have, for the most part, contained the expansion in the south."
With respect, Starmantle was not resolved by the actions of the Emerald Enclave. You had decades before I arrived to aid Cindermoon in acquiring the ritual which purged the city. Only through those actions was Starmantle resolved, direct and aggressive against the infection.
Could you give me another diplomacy check, Harith?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's see how the.
We'll go ahead and do fast talk here. When I make a diplomacy check and dislike the result, I may make a bluff check and use either result. It'll be a plus 19. I guess I'll take the 27 from above.
Harith slowly nods. There is something to your words. Sometimes, from ashes, grow the green wood. Let's say, sometimes from golden fire comes renewed life. As he looks to Nola, says, "Perhaps we should not see this as the death of friends, but as their burial, their return to the land, and the allowance of them to grow anew." That said, he looks to Velmina and says, "I do not approve of any plan that involves her, or poison, or death in such a regard. Should they be killed, they should be done so as cleanly as possible." Velmina will respond with, "And you shall waste many lives to attempt it, many resources that would not necessarily be used. Surely there are many more places that would require such a cleansing. If we use the most efficient methods, we shall be able to get to them all faster." Yeah, a response which seems to trouble the old druid, as it makes him consider which path he's going down at the moment. Zalisnar sort of nods slowly. "If it was up to Cindermoon, we would certainly embrace whatever methods are necessary. But it is not just up to Cindermoon. We do not follow her because we are required to. We follow her because she shows wisdom. She has, perhaps by her experiences, been clouded. Or perhaps she sees clearer than all of us what is needed. I do not know, nor do I imagine any one of us here can truly know. Even," he sort of looks to Emisure, "if your opinion seems to match the best to hers, then it seems we are in accordance that something must be done. Inaction does not seem to be the way. Even if we could contain it, it appears that there would not be time. I am worried as well of what you speak. We know that below this place, these general lands of the Dragon Coast, there is a powerful psionic mind, something that in rare times across the millennia have reached out, predictable moments when the planets align, to influence all minds around it. Those who open themselves up can find themselves changed in great ways, even if they produce great works before they go. if such a presence is attempting to influence us, to align itself with these beings, then that would warrant a much greater response. Do we have any proof, however, that the current cult is aligning itself with other forces? Varys will shake his head, so will no loss. Vilmina as well would sort of almost bitterly shake her head. Yes.
Mizure says, beyond my personal knowledge, that they devour the bodies of the spell-scarred creatures that the blue flame avatar of Nobanian leaves behind? No.
Then I believe that we shall find out all the information possible before we act in a manner that would later be regretted. Should they be creating Plagueland, then we shall act immediately. Should they be conspiring with beings from beyond, then we must act immediately. To me it seems, however, that if those two things are not done, if they keep to themselves and worship their cursed thing, then they are, if nothing else, growing only slowly. And we might have time, well, to come up with a plan that involves the least amount of harm to the followers of the Lion. If these things, however, can be proven and found, then our options are much fewer. Does the Council agree to this statement? I think Varys will nod slowly. It's understandable. If there are some sort of horrible aberrations involved, then that certainly does have to be pushed with fire. That those you can't cure. Vilmina nods deeply and says, I'm very invested in this. Really very invested. As Norlas will frown and say, and what if such proof can be fabricated? She glances to Missouri. There are those who would wish my follows harm what they've done beyond what might be acceptable.
My concern is the opposite. How could one even find proof of such things? It is as if you insert some sort of bizarre analogy, like the awkwardness of hunting. The dragon would know. It's as if you are. It is looking for an excuse to take time.
That's not talks his sort of wooden moss beard and nostrils. I have been given eternity of life by Sylvanus, so that I might take my time. And yet you speak much as she would have. You would have us act immediately? Now?
I too have considerable time, and yet it pales before what the blue flame can do to this world. What is hundreds, if not thousands of years of pondering, if the very thing Sylvanus has within his domain is irrevocably tainted by the far realm? The spell scar spreads easily. I've seen it myself.
More or less, she says, if immediate action is what's required, then I will leave this council immediately. I cannot stand by and be a part of something like that. I will not stop you directly. I will not oppose you, nor will I stand with you in that. Varys is silent while Vilmina sort of looks to Emizure and sort of almost steps a little bit closer to her, sort of, physically aligning her space with him. I am with Imizure Litrathir, a wise dragon, certainly. We must act now and decisively. Which seems to really sort of almost work against Imisure's point.
Yeah.
With the Feroz here, sort
Yeah.
of frowns slightly at Immisore, and looks to Wilhelmina. So Salasnar just listens. He seems a little saddened at Norlos's response. He seems to like having everyone at the table, but he's a famously neutral person in his opinions, so he doesn't really have a great amount of opinion about anything.
Imizure says, "It is understandable that we who serve nature," and there's sort of like an accusatory glance at the archpriest of Tolona, like next to her, like an angry, like flare. Before back to the rest of the group, would squabble over how to best serve it. But it's important to know that we do serve it. There are threats from the far realm beyond this immediate vicinity, and the Emerald Enclave must be prepared to defend nature. There are far more areas than Starmantle that were afflicted thus. And if the Emerald Enclave is incapable of defending its nearby environs, how can it hope to help nature throughout Faerun?
Yeah, I think that'll be the closing remark. There is an easy, a moderate, and a hard difficulty person to convince here. Let's see a diplomacy check. I think that's appropriate. To see if you can have brought them aboard with this plan.
Sure. We've got a 28.
28. Yeah, that at least beats the moderate. Let me just check the hard DC for our current situation. Doesn't beat the hard one. So yes, the Malorites or the Nobanianites will leave as this discussion begins to get into details. You cannot sort of participate in that. That said, Wilmina was always on your side. Zalaznar here can be convinced, especially as the Nobanianite leaves, bring that voice of resistance sort of out of play. He will nod slowly, and even Varashield here seems to actually the argument made that that if they're destroyed, then something greater can be done. I mean, that seems to be something he's not entirely disagreeing with. He will offer, as he's part of this, that should there be any plague land, then he will have Gildenfire, mighty golden dragon, breathe his life-giving flames upon that land and hopefully mend it before it gets too terrible. He considers that a standing offer for this region.
All right.
Wilmina didn't really get what she got to do, but she got to stay until the end, and that's sort of what she had hoped. Now people will know about her, and she can begin to muck about in this forest a little bit.
Yeah,
She's
it's
happy
not
with
the
that.
full victory she wanted, but it's
No,
a step she didn't have.
she didn't expect to get even this far. She was allowed to stay, and no one yelled too much at her. They were busy with other things. And Zelaznar is saddened that some people left, but time moves ever so fast for the fleshy creatures of nature. It's really rather sad. But yeah, with that, the conclave shall be done. The Emerald Enclave will have received a temporary bonus to its might and influence from these allies that have pledged their abilities to it. And will act.
Okay.
First thing they will do is to use those allies to draw up forces of equipment and such to actually launch an assault. Which they will do. And they will also recruit some people. because this has to be done decisively. And will Emissary participate?
Yeah, I'll participate. I thought about whether she would like kick in like support for the Emerald Enclave, but I think like her faction is here as like an ally, ostensibly for the Emerald Enclave, and so I think she would end up taking direct action with her faction as well.
Mhm.
Go ahead and use treasure and sovereignty to increase might. I've got 2 bonus dice for that, thanks to my Malorite druids.
Yeah.
No Banyan, boo.
Don't have their own archpriest, but when it's called to go and beat up Nobanian, they always show up.
That's 6, 7, 8, and then I'll have an extra die because the dragon's helping. All right. Do we increase might? Yes. Do we increase might? Yes. Might has been increased twice.
Been
So go
increased.
ahead and deduct treasure down by 2. And then these early viewers will not take the lead here from the Enclave on this, whether they want to attack in tandem and like force like the Golden Abandon like defend against them the both or like attack separately.
Yeah, my
Like-
Enclave is just gonna attack to begin with.
Okay.
Just gonna strike. Now the Golden Banyan does have an asset. They have knowledge from the beyond, which gives them an expert die when defending against might, because that is what they have requested. Because they sort of assumed that this kind of thing would happen.
From beyond you say,
So one, yeah, almost as if that, if only that could be proven. But so one of their dice is a 10. It will not be rolled, but instead simply be a
is that an expert die or a master die?
expert die. So they have to
Okay.
see it before they roll.
All right.
Yeah, Emerald Enclave will attack. Striking, and the Cult of the Banyan will attempt to defend. Reinforced position. They did not get a 10, and so the attack upon them is successful. Right now, the Colt here, the Enclave is attacking just to kill might, basically. They're preemptive defending. That's
Yeah.
what they're here to do. And they will just keep going because they are not, they're not stopping.
All right.
Double 9. Got them striking. That is a 10. So they resisted by the strange might as they maybe like stab a Wemmick, who then like turns into a weird tentacle moth thing and like eats a person.
Yeah. If that's not proof.
Mhm. Or one of them slips out of his own skin that then fights next to him as an ally or something like that.
That's not fucking disturbing at all.
It's weird stuff.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, they'll continue. Okay. It's another failure. They are once again going to get dashed. Now they're not being counterattacked here, so that's not really a problem. Does Missouri want to go?
Absolutely.
The Enclave is taking a couple of beatings there. They're mostly druids. They're not they're strong in fighting and such, but
Yeah. All of Missouri Legion there's sneaky minions don't fight fair. We've got experience with spell scars. And so the sinister operatives will go into work. Let's start assassinating like their soldiers. I want to work on reducing might. But these are not fair fights as shapeshifters and, giant spiders come in to poison and slay. Yes. So that's going to be might influence. I'll cap out at 10 dice for that, thanks to Sinister Operatives.
versus
All right.
sovereignty.
Triple 10s. Pair of 6s, pair of 4s, pair of 2s.
It's hard to resist. Double 10s won't do it. They don't get their asset here because they're not defending against the might attack. So,
Okay.
yeah, you do it. You reduce their might and their sovereignty.
Yeah. I will
As
reduce.
most of their soldiers have been wounded in one way or another.
I will reduce my influence by 1, and I'll go ahead and perform that same attack one more time. That will also be with 10 dice. Triple 10s, para 9s, triple 7s.
Yeah, there's no way. All right. You have permanently reduced their might by a point.
Okay. Go ahead and reduce influence by another. And I guess like the Verdant Eclipse will like rotate to look at the Emerald Enclave, like
They're back in. They're back in, man. Strike. Yes, these guys defend. Now they're reaching that point where they can't really defend themselves. The Enclave is reaching a point where it's hard for them to. They don't give up. Yeah, if they had more sovereignty, if they were more united, they could begin drawing upon their other abilities. But for now, they can't do it much. They'll try to gather more people. The people they would gather might be sympathetic to Nabanian and might be part of the people who didn't join them.
that makes sense.
They're pretty much spent,
All right.
having struck with all their force. I've won pretty much every fight, but it is hard to dislodge them completely after all.
All right. Yeah. Then the powerful faction devoted to the dragon, who ostensibly worships Malar, will come back out to work, using its cunning, shifty, sneaky ways. This time, the Green Dragon herself will participate to keep us at 10 dice.
Mhm.
So she will not be denied on this. Cinder Moons, like, hopefully does not need to like pay even an iota of thought or attention to this. This has to be resolved.
Mhm.
This is important for unity, damn it.
Yay.
Triple 5s, para 4s, para 3s.
Yep. Their might is now on 0.
Okay.
You
Go
have to
ahead.
reduce one more stat, that being either sovereignty or territory.
Yeah. I think based on my understanding of how cults work, that I don't want to go after their sovereignty. I
Mm.
think booting them out. Well, I guess I didn't have like a question I would ask.
Mhm.
I guess I would ask a question, what's lower, their territory or their sovereignty?
Territory.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
They broke off all the people who disagreed.
Yeah. Then let's have a direct attack here. Not using our sneaky underhanded ways, as the Verdant Eclipse seeks to outright boot out the Flame Cult of Nobanian. Dislodge it.
Mm.
And attack
And
its
there's no more
territory.
members, no more places for them to live. Yeah.
That's right. That'll be Might and Treasure with attacks. So the +2 and the -2 cancel each other out, and the dragon herself is acting, so it'll be 7 dice. Pair of 10s, pair of 5s.
Yeah. They have a 0 territory. We need to do 2 more strikes successfully to
Okay. I'll deduct Might by 1. That means this next attack will be with 6 dice.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and get that going. It's a pair of 8s and a quadruple 3.
crashed. One more strike and they will be out of these mountains. Basically, as it's like now fighting like in caves and whatnot. Actually, there's some like purple worm caves around here. Seems like one lived here once upon a time.
And then finally, oh, sorry. I just need to make that roll again because who knows what that extra die was? It could have been the 3s. My bad. Nope, that will not do it. Let's see. How committed is the dragon to this? Pretty committed. This is the whole spell scar thing. She hates that shit. Um,
There is, of course, this fighting has been going on for a while at this point. I mean,
throughout
it's
the
not like
entire.
one clear battle. There will be an offer from Anglismart, having overseen. Normally, this is his territory, but he has been scouting out. He would, of course, offer to help. He has many forces, and all he would ask is that in the future battles, that maybe the Verdant Eclipse could come and help him. Maybe even Missouri herself could.
We'll hold off on that. Territory and sovereignty to increase my. Oh, shit. That'll be with a +2, because it's against no Banyan. That's 5-7 dice. Might's increased. That puts us at 5 dice again for making this attack against their territory.
Even the were-rats don't like going into these caves with
Damn.
whatever this is.
All right. 4 dice. Damn.
3.
Okay. Shit. Fuck it. No effort wasted. All right, Anglospark, I'll help you against Turbish. Finish the job.
All right, yeah, he definitely will. I mean, that'll do. It's outside his sphere of influence, but half his strength still does it.
I just want to see those witches.
Basically, it's probably the ones who are closest. It's probably like the fire, like Victus actually showing up right now, wearing like there are people having their own banner, but also like a big blue one. Waving there, marching into these caves. Like, fire is not a problem for them.
Oh,
That's
I just
the
love
best.
the visual power move of Emiseray Leadrathir, like bringing the Enclave together, and then Anglospark with Victus. Victus, how'd you get here?
It's like,
And-
oh.
As the blue dragon lands upon the mountain, roaring as his legion of giants and hobgoblins marches in. Wyverns in formation. It's a power play. He wants to show off because he
Yes.
likes showing off his military might. He's very into that. We'll show the march and into the caves, and there's not many of these people left. And we'll purge them, which also takes a little while, but it's a good training exercise. He's sure that he will have to hunt down Termish generals in these mountains soon enough. As they're called.
I almost feel sorry for the Flame God and Noven. How could they resist?
Their last sanctum. But there's no more Wereth. They look out. It's thinning. The druids, it's a battlefield. But they weathered the day. And then a warhorn and a dragon and giants and a siege tower. Why do they even have a siege tower? Sort of
Oh shit!
brought in to just finish the job. And then he'll go back. Probably. This is not where he lives. This is not where his influence is. He does not have a presumption to conquer these mountains.
No.
Oh, his eyes are firmly on Termish. Now he has another dragon eye. Good. He will inform Imisure, of course, that her debt can also be paid should another dragon take her place.
All right.
That's okay.
She understands.
He has certainly sent other dragons to take his place before in other places, so it's very acceptable when you're too busy yourself.
Yeah. The path of least resistance dragon right here.
Emisary's like, yes, I understand this language.
It's the same argument. I was like, fine, Anglospark, you come take this. Yeah, sure, I'll help.
All right. That was a bit of the Emerald Enclave.
Yep.
Doing things.
Yep, there we go. She likes to think that it's like a power demonstration, like, see the kind of assistance I can call in, everyone. Look at how awesome I am. We get shit done.
Yeah. Beyond that, does anyone else have something they want to do? I can just these people.
I am so done with this game. So done.
Recicatrix. Villigny.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Has the connection to
I
the
can hear you
Forgotten
now.
Realms been?
It seems that you are coming through clearly.
Oh. I was wondering if you could hear me. If you heard screaming outside your window, it might have been from my house.
No, maybe.
Noise cancelling headphones coming in handy there. Yeah, I mean, I had a thing that I wanted to do
What is it?
a long time ago, but you know, uh, the Cicatrix would like to first contact Sinistin and basically ask him whether he uh, thinks that there could be, if it would be acceptable to deliver the gift of Severus through other means than her dragging her ass over
Uh, his answer would be depends on the gift. If it's big enough, then it might seem wise. It's not like Severus. He likes being feared. He likes to toy with the people who come and test them. But a good enough gift might distract him from those desires.
I'm wondering whether I should tell him, but Sinistin's gonna find out anyway, isn't he?
Hmm.
Can I do like a history check or something? Like, do I reckon my gift is up
Sure.
to par? Like,
Draconic history. What has Severus accepted in the past?
well, exactly. I've been there,
Mhm.
you know.
What are
Hey!
you wanting? What are you wanting to give him to?
The Arbor Storms.
You reckon that he'd be pretty happy with that gift, yeah. Especially these days, where it might be useful to make things storm over Cormier to make them not forget that he exists. Because right now they're not paying a lot of attention to him.
As the 6-6 glares at the orb. Still,
With that, a moderate DC. So I'll tell you, he Severus is also a dragon who likes to consider himself not just a master of black dragons, but a master of all dragons. He's not just the black dread. He will be, if ever, he will be the old dread, the dread father, the
oh.
iconic dragon. As such, he has tried to master every element. And he
Oh.
believes right now that thunder is the last one he needs to master.
Oh.
They call him Night Flame. They call him Gloomfrost. They call him Shadow. They don't have a nickname for him that involves lightning.
Yeah, that does not make me want to give it to him more.
So you believe actually uniquely it would be even more worth to him than it would actually in its value.
I'm gonna roleplay it as all this extra time the Cicatrix has spent, having had this plan in mind when she stole it. As soon as she got the orb in her claws, it has pained her deeply because it's a really nice and powerful orb. And I mean, imagine someone what ships could, what they could use that for. And
Yeah.
well, it's really pretty, and she knows just where it would sit in her hoard. Like, all right, yeah. How would she go about delivering it if she's not going there herself? Like,
Probably sail up the river.
yeah, can she send like a ship?
Yeah, I don't think problem.
Okay.
He has aquatic minions that can swim.
Yeah, cool. Well, that will do. And
Yeah, you're gonna set it off?
yes, but let's be honest. Until they reach that river, it's the whole fucking fleet. Right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah,
there's a long way up there, and the Cicatrix will be swimming under it.
sure. Remove it from wherever you've written it down, and Severus will receive it. And covetedly proclaim that he's glad that this uncouth little dragon out there has feared him enough that it wishes to
Oh
get away.
no, yeah, and it's gonna be accompanied by a growling message, right? Like, you know, that he is the absolute bigger dragon, and you know, it took her a while because she was getting a gift that she thought could be still useful and maybe hopefully worthy of his greatness, and you know,
Mm.
Yes, just like because dragons they especially black dragons, they don't there's no like smearing it on too thick,
Mm.
Assuming it's like, no, this guy wants to hear how great he is.
He likes to think that it took you so long because you didn't want to part with it.
Yeah, I mean also that.
That's why he cares so much extra for it too, because it
Yeah,
hurt you to give it away.
it did.
All right, cool.
See, every time she looks at her stash now, there's an empty spot.
Mhm.
Like,
Very sneering faces.
yeah. Yeah. He's like, I feel watched, and then it's like, oh, it's just the phantom of my greed staring back at me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when Thisden hears, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, that should buy you time." He'll be obsessed with that thing for a long time.
Good. Yeah. He just sends that mail like with like a smiley.
Mhm.
He's just so mad.
Now, what do you
But
reckon about the Church of Bane influence in the city that's been arriving, and of the
I
Black Fleet of
only
Day that is coming?
I mean I did not hear that. So
Well, 4 ships from Thay have arrived, each having a red whistle
oh,
captain,
okay.
and they seem to be heading for Westgate.
Yeah. No, she'll say I don't think that we need more powers in Westgate, especially not one with resources that they can call upon, thus as Faye.
I actually think Thay would be preferable, right?
Two?
Who's Sirig and the host?
Do understand that they are not particularly fond of our kind, especially situated here.
Sort of, just, you know, he understands that you do not live in this city, but it's pretty miserable right now. Honestly, if some gnolls come and kill these better host people, they're okay with that. They doesn't usually invade places. They usually sort of leave and then go do other weird magical stuff when they do what they want. And Seth's pretty sure they're not here for him.
Well, yet, bitch, if you get too comfortable.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't like that, but there's really not much we can do right now.
All right.
Not about to assassinate 4 Dayan wizard ships. So the Black Network are not planning on throwing out the Red Banner Host at the moment.
They don't have the military might to do so.
Mm. Mm.
They're good at influence. They have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of fists.
All right. Has the Secretary received any new information or job proposals from the Shadow War?
No, not this year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she they know where to find her if they need help.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what she will. Then I would like to. Well, the Cicatrix would contact Emmy for the Sending Stone,
Probably like
or
some sort of
whoever is on the other side.
a some sort of like pleasant like singing as finally like the numbers have been whittled down to folks who've been forced to get competent into it by rotation. And we'll say that the Green Dragon will her greatness, Ibizari Leader there will have to get back to you within a couple days, but it'll happen. And the Green Dragon will get back to her cicatrix and say, "Yes, we're cicatrix."
I plan on doing an investigation in the warders near your lair. I thought that you should know before you see my people snooping about.
There's a pause. It says, I will permit this, though should you value the well-being of your minions, she snorts, do be advised that mine, that have been on and near the water, have vanished. I have gone looking down there myself, and I have not seen any predator of significance. It is empty down there. It is puzzling. I am uncertain whether it is an influence from the far realm.
Vercingetorix thinks back to all the horrors in the deep she saw. Oh, and she'll. Yeah, yes, I will keep that in mind.
There will be no problems with your minions arriving, then. Or you yourself.
Good. And then she'll cut the call before she hears anyone singing.
This is probably
Leave that.
actually a bit late in the year, so maybe it's a little awkward. But I still do think we should see if this policing actually has netted something. Even if that might retcon the conversation a
Yeah.
little bit.
No, it's worth knowing.
You know. Yep. Yeah. Emissaries people will have gutted a couple of what is called well, they're called scum. Weird, almost transparent, like fish creatures that seem to have been crawling upon boats and dragging people down. It does seem, though, that the people who got dragged down were perfectly fine with it, mentally compromised to simply move into the water quietly and then let themselves be pulled away
Okay.
out into sea.
Well, that's disturbing.
Well, like the Green Dragon's gonna hear the word scum and basically look at her minions like, you have one of them for me to look at? You gotta fucking explain here, minions. Like, what the fuck is a scum?
Yeah, I mean, they would probably just say weird fish thing.
Right. Okay. So back to that,
What are these things?
then a retcon will say, be advised, should you value the lives of your minions, that mine, God, we'll go, the predators, and say, like, disappearances have been caused by, and she'll describe, like, the appearance of, like, the scum that seem to be able to lure those of weak will into the water willingly, without a struggle. Should your minions be a weak will, uh, uh, well, she just lets it peter out.
Mm. Thank you for the warning.
Like,
I did think that there would be. It is a. The area has, as you will know, mm, an unfortunate history and has influences from it. The Sigrid shudders in her cave. What a horrible place.
all right. And then the conversation ends. So you may proceed accordingly.
Yes, well, Monica, I'm not sure how to go about it, but I think I would like to first send out Demarked and basically try and scout the area about um, the old lair.
Like, if if you're looking to, like, say for example, locate like a particular thing, almost sounds like you're either like gathering information or trying to do like some sort of espionage with your faction, with your company.
I think espionage here is what's needed.
So I know where it is.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Learning secrets. So influence plus treasure. What the hell's going on there?
You are looking at a difficulty of 6.
Oof. Wait, I need to clear my.
This is a hidden layer. If you had not known where it was, it would be almost impossible to find.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the point of any good lair?
You have to dig through a bunch of sand to get to it.
Well, I do have Shogunards.
Yeah.
Make themselves useful. Nope.
No. You send some people and they don't return.
Well, luckily we don't need weak-minded individuals, but I mean, we do need results, however. I'll try once more before Visage starts to get mad.
You have failed me for the last time.
There we go.
All right.
A couple of them return, shaken, stating that they saw something move in there, something large, and they weren't sure what it was. The whole place seemed covered in some sort of thick, slimy substance. And once some of the people there touched it, they grew limp and then turned weird into fish creatures.
Ooh,
Something horrible lairs in that place.
of course it does. Okay. Where did I gather information about? I guess that sounds like aberrations.
It does. Yeah.
The engineering check, isn't it?
Engineering check, yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Your deep familiarity with the deep.
well, I left once it got there, man. Why would anyone stay? Wow.
Maybe because it's the reason that other people leave.
You know. Huh. 15.
Probably something bad, aberrant. Don't know specifically what based on that information.
Could the
But it's
hacks
really
in
nice. I mean,
general-
you remember staying there once upon a time when the ships from Starmantle would pay you tribute. It's pretty much just outside of the sort of city proper's range. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, well, it did not used to have that shit there. Could I ask, like, the hacks? But they would know general knowledge about aberrations, surely. Having lived in the Underdark.
Actually, one haggles of Mother Drummer will say, it sounds like the kind of things that my sister would make, but, well, she got brutally murdered and I had to rebirth her. So, in that process, she lost much of the knowledge she held. Had things been different back then, perhaps I could help you, but this was never my fit, though it sounds like mind control to be sure, and I would be very careful in such a circumstance. A being that relies on such things is usually very good at it.
Thank you for your counsel. Well, talk about psionic.
I'm going to invoke the dragon here and say, see it done. Maybe it's going to go.
You know what? Maybe she just have to go.
Yeah.
She's gonna take it. Do it.
All right. The lair is located on like a cliff at the bottom of a reefy cliff almost, facing out away from the city, and then
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Welcome to the blinding light, the shining beacon of Malar that the camera may never directly cut to.
yeah. You know, You've done this move a long time ago, frequently. Does it bring back memory?
Yes, but not any good ones. As he's moving into the waters, first he thinks of, once the spell plague hits, he thinks of all the horrible moss he saw in the deep. And now, as she gets closer and closer to the layers, he thinks of all the horrors she had to go through there. Um, and probably not for her own good. She's definitely like mentally distraught. This is not. She had hoped to never ever set foot or even think about this place. But
Right now,
yeah,
looks pretty much like it used to. A little bit of coral around. The softened area that she herself probably burnt through acid through the rock to get to the mud underneath. Uh, Still there. It's sort of thick, and you'd have to push through, but you've done it before. The life
should
of a
like
white dragon.
s- s- start by like poking it with a claw. There's no goopy acid here or like cyanic acid bullshit.
No, no acid. It seems to be thick mud.
Oh, great. She'll resign herself to move through fast. Surely that'll make it better.
Just straight through,
Yes.
rushing ahead into whatever lies beyond.
See it done.
Yeah. When she gets to what lies beyond, it's a slightly familiar glow, perhaps, of the many sort of beautiful plants that grow in here. The cavern has a large part that is above water. It's sort of like a water lock. It has parts that are below water and then more that is above it, allowing for treasure, for example, to be dry part. Something that seemed valuable once when ships would give artwork and the like, textiles and silk, which as tribute when coin was not readily available. You would not want to miss out on it. Beyond that, it is well illuminated by some plant that devours something that's in the sand, presumably, giving a nice golden light to the area.
She moves in.
She will see something else in here with her as she looks around.
Oh. Oh damn.
A
Oh,
creature
oh.
watches back with a combined 7 red eyes in its forehead, uh, and a telepathic voice will echo in the dragon's mind. This is not dangerous. Stay, be at peace, talk, explain. The city has lost its splendor. It is now ruined. We will have it returned. Explain.
What am I to explain?
The city beyond. You came from it. You fly. You live on the surface. It has been ruined. They took its splendor. Such should not be possible. The sovereignty is disturbed. You are disturbed. We together are disturbed.
Starmantle, as it was, has been destroyed. as you say. She got claws out, looking warningly at this thing.
Yeah, the scum sort of excitedly move a bit closer to the water's edge.
I can give you information from the surface. Possible.
I should mention, all this water here is difficult terrain due to the thick slime that covers it.
Ew.
It's like a gelatin, so it's mixed in with all of it, making it sort of like swimming in honey almost. Share, it says, moving closer and reaching out a tentacle to touch.
Nope.
You will clarify.
I do not know how you would gain information from above, but I can send out scouts. Be your eyes.
We have eyes. We need knowledge.
About the cleansing of the spell scarred? No. Alright, well, I guess we'll start leaving then.
Well, the aboleth doesn't want you to leave.
Okay, well, then I guess we'll have to roll initiative.
Yeah.
I'm not. The hell's people trying to surround me?
Should begin to move. Yeah, we will. 'Cause it's you're not going. You have to. It has to know.
Okay. Well, open up the character sheet. First started buying items. That's very how very inconsiderate of it.
Glad your internet functions. Roll for initiative.
Huh?
I said, glad your internet functions. Roll for initiative. Oh, shit.
Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
There. Yeah, wait, do I have. Is there an initiative macro and is it up to date? Is the real question. Yes. Right. Come on.
It's good initiative.
This is good initiative. I have plus 20.
All right. Well, you get to move first. Remember, you're in difficult terrain, which means that you move half your speed.
Which means that if I move double.
You just move normal speed.
Mhm.
You're also swimming.
Well, that's not a problem for me.
No. You want like a little bit more there.
Yeah, I can't see any further or move any further.
You dive into the mud.
Is that 6?
Yeah.
Yep. And let me just see here. Do we have some for the magic item bullshit we can pull? You know.
Just in case.
Yeah, I mean, definitely had some at one point. It's just whether we changed it, right? Oh yeah. Actually, I have a free action,
All right.
which is an encounter power, which says hasty retreat. You can shift a number of squares equal to half the dexterity modifier. So that would be. Is that rounded up or down? Down?
Let's assume up.
Okay, 4.
However, it would be half because of the difficult terrain. Less that
So
allows
2.
you to ignore difficult terrain. Yeah, 2.
That was a free action, so we're still looking at the items. Oh.
Shift through the mud.
Hmm?
Should begin shifting through the mud.
And actually, I should have started with this. I have a stance called Incredible Stride, which means until the stance ends, I gain a +4 power bonus to speed. So I'm
Okay.
gonna move myself 2 squares more.
Sure.
Because the cicatrix saw Emmy, and she was like, you know what? Being able to move a lot seems really fucking useful.
hmm
Yeah, that's my turn.
The paranoid black dragon just nopes. Like, no.
It just shoots out.
No, these guys don't think they can really. Oh. Nor can these guys. But the last one's mine. Let's just speed this up a little bit, giving the ones that have a chance to really participate. The chance to really actually participate. This one. Can make it. They appear very fast. At swimming.
Okay. Double
Splash.
move?
Nope. And then while you're next to one of these scum, slime sloshes off them, which means that you're vulnerable 5 to psychic.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't like that.
Beyond that, they're almost invisible in water, which means while fighting in water, they count as invisible. Unless you can see invisible creatures, they have advantage against you.
Mm-hmm.
It will slam.
Let me. Sorry. So many windows open. Yes, that will definitely hit.
Right, you can take 10 damage and be dazed, save ends, or 20 damage.
Is that a choice?
Yeah, it's a choice. Up to you. 20 damage to resist the dazed, or 10 damage and be dazed.
I will assist that.
What a choice, right?
Dear.
Is it a choice?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but
No, I even have 2 saves, and I'm like, nah, bitch.
the thing about the aboleth is that its slime is only difficult terrain for enemies. So, he's fine. He has the double move, though. Up here behind you, these tentacles moving out. Her feeling that if you're dazed near this guy, your mind might just break.
Yeah.
These ones are
Oh,
basically.
he moves fucking fast.
No, he's not bothered by the difficult terrain either. Beyond that, around him for 5 squares, it's all difficult terrain for enemies. So basically until here right now. Cicatrix. See, as you hear the mental note again of submit. It has a bit of mental disdain. Quite clearly, you're a sub creature to this thing.
For all of. Oh, I need to roll
Individual.
for all of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just 4 minions first. Yeah. As she just gushes out her acid. This is not.
Hit.
I'll draw some helpful radiuses to measure the range of that difficult terrain. 5.
And you even hit him in the face.
So you're looking at like that, the extent of the difficult terrain.
God, that is really hard to look at.
It is. Let me. I was trying to let me single this to like what might be most pertinent for you.
Scum here. Attack.
Wait, that was my minor action.
Sure. If you have more, then go ahead.
Yes. Yes, I do. Let's find my sheet here. Holy crazy. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I'll try and feel this a little bit. See if I can.
I can tell you the aboleth has 10 speed, so it's the
Yeah.
fast.
It's like it'll be pretty hard to run from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you what you want to do.
Though, I mean, if I double move. But see, he doesn't have to deal with difficult terrain, so it's actually just a stalemate then. Nah. Let's get. Yes. I will use my daily power. Ooh.
Lot. All right, yeah, that hits. 20 damage. And not prone.
And until the end of the encounter, every time I hit it, it will take the ongoing damage again. And then I'll shift one back.
All right. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be particularly bothered by that. Scum will follow up and slam.
Nope.
Actually, you cannot shift back one unless you have a shift speed of 2. Difficult terrain.
Oh. Even with 10 move speed? Damn.
Yeah,
Shifting is 1 square.
There's too much thick mucus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, that will miss.
Oh,
And let me see here. I will use my strike back gloves and
All
do
right.
a basic attack on it. 'Cause it dared hit me. Easy.
Lash another one. Ebolith is kind of done with you. He'll right himself. And it seems like time to really. So just reach out a tentacle and try to
Nope.
make this happen. Then he'll action point to make it 34.
That will hit.
All right. And you can take 10 damage and you're dazed save in. She'd hoped to have that happen before he used the action point, but
Yeah, I bet.
no, then I'll shift down here. And take his save, which he does. On that, his little minion moves in. So it's slam. You can take 10 damage, already dazed, so.
Oh my god.
The others arrive.
Yes, I have my item for dazed roll, so I'm gonna roll at the start of my turn here. I am
Yep.
not
Already
dazed.
dazed. Though with the amount of enemies, it's likely that it'll happen again. Ebolith is okay with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What would one do in this instance? It's a good question, I feel like.
A perhaps salient question is how deep, like beneath the surface of the water, is this former lair of Verzigatrix that is now the lair of an aboleth?
I mean, not as deep as it used to.
That's
Oh,
true. Probably like 10 squares or something.
Because ostensibly, since Ricicatrix is wise and intelligent and wants to escape, you'd have to get out of the water. Because it seems that the Black Dragon does have a natural predator here. Well, I hesitate to use the word natural. But
Yeah, that is
Aboleth,
true.
if you break the water, you'll be safer.
Yes, that is you. That is you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make this. Use this 2D plan, sort of playing to advantage. Let's say it's 10 squares up. Then I can make simply a line over here. That's about 10 squares away. Yeah. So now that's the surface, right?
But I can't shift as long as I'm in the range.
No. Well, as long as you're within 5, no. Unless you have a power that lets you shift more than 1.
Yeah,
Or
well,
allows
I
you to
did,
bypass difficult
but I
terrain.
already used that.
Oh, you can bypass difficult terrain somehow.
Yeah, well, I don't. Let me just look at my.
You did save against the day, so at least there's that at the start
Oh
of your.
yeah, I have my full turn.
Also got some action points if you need them.
Yeah.
You do have an action point.
Just looking at all my skills that have movement in them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a real chance you might be captured by this thing.
What's your bonus for speed until the end of the encounter?
+4.
+4. All right. So
Well.
That's
right,
10. So
yeah, you
basically,
have
just
10.
need to not be smacked.
Yeah. So if I'm going to select your token here for a moment.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. I'm going to move you around. So assuming you don't get hit by an attack of opportunity that dazes you, that's going to be 2, 4. Call that 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 as one move.
Yeah.
And a double move takes you out.
Yeah, it's just whether I'll be dazed from them hitting me.
Right, yeah, but if you have a better plan that somehow allows you to extricate yourself from the
Yeah, I'm
Aboleth.
just looking at. But I guess even skills that say I would shift would not allow me to.
No, because it's
If it's
difficult
just
terrain.
one move, yeah, then you wouldn't.
Yeah,
could
if you
Yeah.
were allowed to shift like multiple spaces, then you'd be able to shift into difficult
Well,
terrain.
I did not know I would need that power now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, I guess, that I am provoking.
All right. Stop it, scum. That looks like a hit. I guess you take 20 damage because you don't want to be dazed.
Yes.
The Aboleth tried to use its tentacle.
Nope.
Looks like a miss. So you're not dazed by that either.
And then you're able to double move into the surface.
Boop. Well beyond.
Well,
Whee!
once you reach the surface, you're no longer swimming, right?
Yeah, that's true. Oh.
Yeah, and once you get up there, you can begin to slough off some of all the sticky slime that's gone there. It seems like it sort of bleaches your scales a little bit.
They're already bleached.
Yeah, it's like if you got enough of it, they might just turn transparent.
Oh my god, I'm gonna be a
It's
gray dragon. No, not this.
Mhm.
Yeah, as I guess the people from the tower like
Yeah.
can't see a dragon dive, jump up and then in the surface, not deep. Weirdly, not very deep, and just trying to get gunk off of her.
Yeah, this sounds super close to the Grand Temple of Alar, so I think it's going to be pretty visible to
Oh
look
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it wouldn't be right there, but it certainly would be there's not anything obscuring the view, really.
No, and the second might actually. You know what? No, she would go, but she wants to get away from this place. She's just gonna go home, and then she's gonna call Emissary and tell her what's happened. But she's not gonna be here. No.
Let's have that conversation.
Hmm?
Let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, sure, we'll probably be informed that it'll be a few days before Missouri leaves here and get back to you, as she is busy elsewhere in the forest. Eventually, the green dragon would sit, pick up the stone and say, "Are you there, Wisicatrix?"
She lets her wait. No, she's like, yes,
I
yes, I
I
am
heard
here.
stories of your arrival and departure. I understand if you did not wish to partake in hospitality while you awaited me to return.
Yes, that was definitely why. Yes. I went to an old lair of someone, and it is right outside your star mantle, really, and I think I have found the reason that you people might not be returning. There is now an aboleth resting. It
There's, there's a
was
pause.
asking me, it said that Starmantle had not been ruined, and something about the presence not being happy. I think it was really, really weird. It did not speak, well, anyway, it speaks to the mind in broken language, but basically it wanted to hear what had happened up here. How the power could have been stopped. It is as if it served a bigger presence.
Let me see if I'm
And
understanding the situation. You contacted me as a courtesy to inform me that your minions would be coming near into my territory to look into a matter, and then you came yourself directly because this was the former lair of someone that you wanted to go investigate for reasons. After having been informed of the dangers thereof, and also having been informed of my explicit interest in the area, not just because it's my territory, but also to resolve the disappearances of my own minions. In going alone, you confronted an aboleth, and then chose not to confront me directly so I could visibly see you after the fact. Hmm.
well, you were not home. As I understand it, you are very busy.
Valignus, are you there? I am not entirely certain whether Recicatrix is still Recicatrix at this point.
Awkward third person on the phone.
I don't think Valignum would be there.
I'm not here.
He's out looking at notes.
Yeah.
It's like a,
And
it's like a little pause, and then like a dwarf says, "Relictus is not currently available." And then goes back to quietly acting as if he's not listening.
Amir Leisure says, "Splendid. Yes, we dragons that have dwelled in this region have had prior experiences with creatures from the far realm, and that includes an aboleth. If it it is eminently reasonable why you would not wish to allow one of us to see you, as because you would not want us to see you so afflicted by the aboleth. I have some experience with this. The purple dragon Veristrix obtained a spell scar from the far realm, so it is quite understandable why you would wish to keep this secret as well."
He was one of them?
Says, "As I suppose you can now personally relate."
I am not spell scarred.
You're undoubtedly afflicted by the aboleth. Why else would you choose to flee, which is what you must have done?
You
I can
ever
think of
tried?
no other reason why you would insult me so.
Really? she looks almost disbelieving. Like, really?
Yes, in the,
Tilts her
so
head to one side. Really?
part of the reason I moved this far out here was so that you would stop getting in my maw, that you would stay out of my territory, and yet you find yourself once again in a way to insert yourself once more, belligerently, as if you think your greater age affords you greater power and respect, and yet you are as shriveled and weakened by the curse of lethargy as Velignith and I. For whatever particular reason you sought to pursue, your greed, or your secrets, or your paranoia, this domain is mine. And the fact that you chose to go it alone speaks much for your inability to cooperate. Perhaps you should converse more with Velignith. Write that down, dwarf.
Converse more with Cicatrix and yes,
So let me
I,
get
I will
this
bring
right.
that to her.
You, despite knowing where my people were going and knowing this threat, are now upset that I personally took it to myself to look at it while you were busy doing something else. Now I bring you the news that I discovered that seems somewhat relevant to the place you are now living.
No, no,
And
no, no,
you
no.
are
You did not
able.
tell me everything. You wish to look into a matter I did not inquire further, out of respect. But then, as it turns out, you knew about a specific location that I had been hunting for and clearly failed to find, in
What
which
location have you been hunting for?
is a location that would have been causing the disappearances of my minions, which seems to be this lair of this someone were Cicatrix.
She rolls her eyes. I can assure you that had I known that there was an apparatus in that lair, I would have not stepped inside it. Not only was it an aboleth, it was surrounded by its disgusting minions.
She laughs, for I would have assumed that educated and sophisticated dragons such as yourselves would have been well informed about all of the denizens beneath the depths. When I said scum, I had thought you would immediately know what it meant.
I will admit that I do not have much experience with these psionics. Maybe you would have. I suppose there is an innate understanding. I try to keep away from these beings.
Seemingly not this time.
Again, I was hoping they would be swimming around in the area, or maybe hunting for, well, yours and my minions, and not theiring.
So what's the interest in this lair of a someone that the Aboleth now claims?
It is unknown lair of another dragon was tortured by the witch. I wanted to go there to try and find information about the ritual, since we have not found much in the area surrounding the valley as of yet. I figured a ritual ground where the foul deeds had been happening might be more enlightening than whatever else we try to find in the valley.
And he's very
Though
leader
I
here
did not
says,
get access because there's now a giant stupid aboleth.
he
She
says,
like starts frothing a little bit.
and he's very leisure there says, well, this sounds of imminent importance then, if you have reason to genuinely believe that there is something down there which pertains to the ritual, that it concerns all of us. It's something that Velignith will want to pursue wholeheartedly, for there might be another message left down there by Yathel. It most assuredly is something I wish to pursue as well. Undoubtedly, Velignith would like to come do this, and as would I. After all, it is so close. So look forward to, in the coming months, or perhaps even sooner, a return. I had been, she pauses, working on a poison against Aboleths. I'll see about finding it. That, of course, is assuming you're telling me the truth, Wiscicatrix. I would hate for you to be lying.
I would love for me to be lying if it meant there was no aboleth in my way, but sadly, that is not the case. The ground there, the water is difficult to move in, even for I. It is poisonous, full of a thick slime, like the substance of those cursed red insects.
You do not need to educate me about Aboleths. I learned extensively. Velignith and I had numerous conversations about how to deal with one before we met you.
Great. I shall leave it in your capable claws then.
No, it's going to be all of us, Wiscicatrix. After all, information is down there pertaining to the ritual. And it's so easy to access. We can't let it slip through our claws.
I meant the research, but yes. I shall, of course, participate. After all, I would like to see it
Assist?
done.
It's your main project.
True, I suppose. She squints. I have other things, but
Why else would you have come personally? Unless you were lying to
my
me.
people are incompetent and cannot do what I can.
Did I not warn you about sending minions of value? Or did you somehow think me lying? That there was some sort of soothing song that lured creatures into the depths without a struggle? You think, oh, she just has were-rats. They're too stupid. My minions that are covered in scars, they know better.
Well, my minions did tell me of the beings. But again, since the beings kept them from the actual lair, I still wanted to pre-scout the lair for, well, if it had been empty, I could have just gathered the information or pointed it out to you guys. I suppose you have knowledge that I do not in this matter.
We could have
Really,
gone
I was
together, you
trying
and I.
to save you time.
She, Dragon just like chortles, like snorted. Sure, Wiscicatrix. Sure.
Anyhow, I will rest now and sharpen my fangs.
Good luck with that. Puts down the stone, like moves away from it outside the temple and says the equivalent of lying bitch into the air.
I was gonna say when she starts moving away because the secretary wants to let work, she's like, I don't need luck, I have skill. But low enough that it's like maybe she'll just keep moving.
Later, Velignith will receive a transcript of this conversation.
Does he tell the dwarf to try and perform it in the like tones to get
No.
intonation?
I'm looking forward to getting like Velignith's reaction. I'm actually amused as a player because this is the first time like someone not involving Velignith has been like the target of like characters like Rav.
Like, wait a minute.
I mean, I don't think Valigno's gonna get involved. At least not like via the proxy of the stones. Maybe if we meet in in dragon, so to speak, he'll say something. But it's nice for once that it's not him. Outside perspective for a change.
it's it's not him being scolded. Like, oh, it's just great. I can see why she does it. Incredible.
Well, with that delightful interaction with the Aboleth, I think we're too late in our session time to get cranking through another year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See. I think the last thing on my list here for this year is that Velignith will he's claimed some stuff down here, but apparently there's a new power in the southern mountains. It's an ogre warlord who has risen up. And there's some skirmishes and whatnot. It seems to be the strongest warlord in the place. Not big enough to be a faction, but they've taken over something. Apparently. Word is that they've been chosen by one of their gods in their goblinoid pantheon to carry
Oh
out
my
their will
god.
and have taken control of the ruined tower.
Man, that
Okay.
king is a busybody.
Yeah.
What
I
even
don't know
is
what
the
to do with that. Yeah. What
right?
even? You're right.
As then another thing I didn't say earlier because Ari wasn't here, but as Vitikus forces have been going out the valley and such, they increasingly find that this sort of general area outside the eel fort just isn't really that safe. The dam, such. At night, strange groves of trees seem to move from place to place, and if your camp is close enough, they will surround it, and you will be gone at daylight.
In where?
In the areas outside of the dam and outside of the eel fort, between those two
Okay.
places.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to try and research that a bit. Those goddamn bees. I know it.
Oh shit! Oh man. Well, the person responsible for creating that, or being the genesis of that, is most likely dead by this point. The gift that keeps on giving.
Those murderous trees.
I'm pretty sure that's what's spawned, you know, just the continuing growth and genesis over decades.
Yeah.
Um, and Uzuri Leader, the only person with any like real substantive knowledge of them is also God,
Yeah.
but not dead.
Wasn't it like Emref was his name?
Yeah.
Making that grove of murderous tree and everyone going like, you did what? Why? And
Yeah.
then they just ran rampant and never did anything useful.
Well, like he was doing it to combat the spell-scarred camp that was forming, like next to like on the other side of the bridge. And that was going to be like his method before we dragons ended up getting involved in our own ways with me manipulating Elm to attack it and
Yeah.
mutually assured destruction.
And now there's just a bunch of murderous trees for some
I was
reason.
gonna say, I'm writing down in my notes here, deal with the murderous trees? And bees. You're gonna have that.
Yeah. It's not something that Vertilism I've ever wanted to tell any of the other dragons, just because like, man, it's just it's awkward. I don't want to talk about it. Amrap doesn't want to talk about it. She kept an eye on it, but then it's just like, whatever, it's not my problem anymore. It's just another cursed thing about that place.
Maybe if Basika gets real tired of it, she'll tell the Vignettes that it's time for bonding movement, and then they can fly over and just spear their dragon breast down.
Yeah, the bonding moment will be next session when we go into the depths to fight an Abalab.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the two of you can do it. Like, but you know what? Mr. Just gonna.
The aquatic dragons. Yeah, this one out.
Yeah, you know what? It would be too easy if I was there. You guys, and it's your territory, and we're not friends right now. We're falling out, so you know.
Yeah, I think I think if Versicatrix tried to weasel the way out of it, then it would turn from Imizure suspecting Versicatrix is a lying bitch to basically just outright declaring, like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
I never want to deal with you again.
I think she goes over it in her mind, and then she thinks, and she's like, you know what? It might work on someone else, but it's not gonna work on Emmy. Like, and then she thinks, would it work on Vignettes? And then she's like, no, Vignettes is actually pretty like insightful. And then she thinks, you know what? Who it would work on? Work on Severus. That's a snicker. Empty black dragon. Oh, she tricked him. Oh no, the orb of storms is gone.
So I gotta ask, is the place you found, is that worthy of Vignettes?
I mean, copper though.
Well, it's a
You could try
throwback.
to find something better.
You know, I feel like I am gonna pull an Emmy here, and you know, I'll keep that place in mind. It's okay, but copper though.
No myth. There's no
Yes.
no lead. You know.
Back
You could have
when you robbed the wizard tower in the valley and got all the copper tubing, this is a throwback. It was meant to be. I guess copper just is the Lignus's element. You know.
thorium.
I've you know, William has made a lot of copper-related memories.
We do. From that tower to a hill to when we found your first lair and you were like, I will pay the other dragons. I will keep these bars.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the greatness.
What is he looking for? Like what would he be okay with?
I mean, you know, he remembers the rumors of like exotic and valuable. I don't count copper among those.
But it has elemental properties.
Well, there's your definitive answer. It's not worthy of a near epic tier, you know, dragon.
Fair.
No, that's fair.
All right, more exotic and valuable. I've added that to the goal, so we have that.
Yes.
No, I mean it makes sense though. He finds this place, and people are like, "This is exactly what you described," and he's like, "Is it though? Worthy of me, really?" I mean,
He looks at the pool of molten copper inside of it and goes,
very
"No."
much glowing. No one could possibly stand that heat. And he's like, "Ah, I could." And worse.
He like dips a claw and just like grunts in disapproval.
You know, if this were more Eberron-ish, then I would totally dig copper because you could do all kinds of things. But you know, we just don't have the technology yet.
Industrial Revolution dragon.
That might.
That would be Tilraxos if anyone would have driven that that stuff.
Yes.
Well, then again, you all know he would have been fighting Ankle-Spark by now over who gets.
I think so.
Boss.
Like I am the tyrant blue dragon in this neighborhood.
That's right.
I like the idea of a favor-based economy. I think favor hooks do pretty well for conveying roleplay, and so I'm amused by the dragon who's my dragon who's just like, fuck it, fine, come help. I'll figure it out later. Just solve it for me. I'm done with this.
That's a future Emmy problem.
It's a future abuser leader, and I'm already thinking right now, like, what is the path of no effort wasted?
How can I get out of my
You just find a different dragon that you do something for that is easy for Emmy, and then you ask for a favor from him, and then you send him to Engelsberg.
Go to war for me. It's a pretty big favor. But,
You know what? If at
where's
one
your
point,
Minthia?
yeah, if at one point Black Dragons start coming for Basigatrix again, I mean, it's good to know that there's someone who would like to take them off her hands.
Sign up.
She could just sit there and let them come to her, and then be like, "Yeah, Ankles Park,"
You might
and then
get
he
to
can
that.
take it.
Oh yeah, if you come hang out here, and then more small black dragon comes, then I'll just recruit all of them.
Yeah,
It's great.
gems. They're saying.
You wouldn't leave, obviously.
Well, I would. No, well,
That's
then
not
I
how.
guess I'll have to kill those Black Dragons.
He has to organize everything. It's all gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be accounted for.
As he meticulously stacks his little chips representing all the favors and things you're owed.
Mhm. And that's going to be the thing that will lead to a lifelong grudge between Anglo-Spartan and Missouri Legion's here, because what she figures is satisfying the favor, and what he figures is satisfying, it's going to be two different things.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a favor-based economy.
Yep.
Get to it already.
And it's already collapsed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Until no.
The mistake was trusting the green dragon to just like, oh, yeah, I'll live up to that. That sounds good.
Of all the dragons to trust.
Yep. Yeah, I will help you in your time of need. Absolutely. Favor for favor.
He's rather simple in that regard, right? Because all his words, he tries to be polite, he tries to be respectable, but his words, as all dragons, are always backed by his power. That's significant enough that most people are happy to have him be polite and non-problematic. You know, he's nice to his followers as long as they show absolute obedience and loyalty.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
nice.
no, he has no interest in the forest. The forest is dumb. I mean, maybe he'd conquered Termish. He'd be like, yeah, I want some logging camps now, but that's not really relevant.
On a side note, the YouTube chat just kept Zale's last message in review for me to look at and accept, presumably because of the ass in Assassin.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. Vile.
Yeah, I mean,
We're PT6 here.
Yeah.
We can't say swears or
As
we
of,
don't get cookies.
as of right now, I don't know whether that path of least resistance, that the lazy river that my dragon is, will take her to finding another dragon, taking its horde, and saying, I will give you back your horde if you go to English
oh
Park.
no,
Or whether she just goes herself for a year, but it's not what English Park intended for that year.
oh no, you find some dragon somewhere and you just go, I will owe you a favor if you go fight for Engelsberg. And then you just constantly move that favor around.
Keep going. It's like paying off your credit cards with more credit cards.
No one's gonna trust him. He's a leader theory. I mean, look at her. She's a green dragon. You can't trust green dragons.
Certainly at some point that tactic gets to get shallow. You're gonna run out of dragons.
Like, and while she has, in the grand scheme of things, mostly kept her word, like, what a dragon considers is their word is up for interpretation.
As a person, I'd probably rather trust Venignith's word over Emmy's.
It's true. Absolutely,
I don't know.
100%.
Well,
But
he
the
would
pro-
do exactly what he said, even if that's not what you thought he meant by it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if you could just get him to say the letter of the word, then he's shown that he will keep it.
Like, in grand scheme of things, like, I could be a stalwart ally, but I also hoodwinked the village of Elm to basically suicide itself against the Spellscarred encampment that was genuinely a threat. but they both killed each other off. Valignith burned what was left of Elm, and, and the three
Some of them
dragons.
won that fight. Malignant won that fight.
Yep,
Rather remarkably so.
he did.
That he didn't have an army, or well, he sort of did.
Yeah, he sort of did in a dream.
Yeah, a dream.
A dream to burn that fucking tree.
Stupid trick.
That motivated us.
Thinking back, like so many things been burned.
Not enough.
Kind of great.
I remember the lengthy contention though, like those 4-player characters had over what was gonna happen with Elm.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And Veristrix gets a spell scar and it changes everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Now there's a purple dragon around.
Yeah, so that didn't get a whole lot of mention.
Didn't.
What's up with that?
You guys didn't go check it out, so it did
Yeah.
what it do.
It might have slipped my attention actually.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what he wanted.
Yeah. Is it too late at this point?
I mean, no, I guess it's technically not too late.
Maybe do that next time because I'm super tired. But Valiant definitely wants to visit that purple dragon.
I was gonna say I
Just
have heard
land in
nothing
front of
about
him and be like, "Yo."
Well, it seems that one came from somewhere in the tunnels below the valley and have come up.
Great.
Hasn't been flying around though, seeming to be keeping a low profile. Have been skulking through the valley to the other side of it, moving in the dark, mostly trying to stay hidden. So
To my side?
yeah, towards your place.
Oh, great. That's why the trees are angered, aren't they?
So that's been going.
Rose purple spell scar.
I try to tell you guys whenever there's something I could reasonably see your characters know about going on in the world, because I feel like then at least there's, whatever consequences come of some of the things that happen, don't come out of the blue if there's some sort of
Absolutely. But none of that will matter because next session we're going to die on the hill where Cicatrix will carry this lie to our graves. So the three of us go raiding the Avaleth under the presumed idea that it contains secrets pertaining to the ritual.
I mean, hopefully, if there's not a big slimy aboleth having.
It was totally not the former lair where Cicatrix.
No, it's definitely not. It's not. I don't know what you're talking. It was a not. No.
Now I know how Valignith feels about building a working relationship based on trust.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's embarrassing. It's like
why else would this black dragon flee and not want me to see it in person? Has to have been affected by Avaleth slime.
I mean, see, that was not pleasant.
And that's sort of like half the thinking here. It's like, oh yes, of course, the black dragon wants us to worry and deal about that because she's been inflicted by Avaleth slime, and so we're gonna lure other dragons down there so the Avaleth can eat us.
Yes. That's what's happening. Let's not go there. You're right.
All right. I think I'm gonna go to bed here though.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
I did.
I look forward to it next time.
Joined like 2 hours in, effectively.
2 hours in and nearly got captured by an Avaleth. It was pretty good.
So, yeah, I play hard.
Customers.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care.
Good night.
See you next week.
See ya.